Welcome back to Second and Short. It is Friday, November 1st, 2024. Kind of weird to say that it's November. I don't know why. It just doesn't seem like it's November yet. Today that we're recording, it's Halloween. We're not dressed up. That's not my vibes. I don't dress up for
Yeah,
Halloween. It's just not my thing.
I was gonna wear my Aaron Judge jersey and like a Yankees hat and like pretend like I was the Invisible Man, but
Nice. That's
I
good.
decided not to do that.
Yeah.
So
You're going to come on here and drop
yeah,
a line drive in center field.
I might.
There's
Today would
going to
be the
be
day
you're
to
going to
do it.
hear a lot of that today. Oh.
Yeah, happy Halloween, Grayson.
Thanks, man.
By the way,
Yeah,
of
for
course,
those that observe,
for those that observe. Yeah,
yeah, um, yeah. There's obviously so much to talk about today. The glaringly obvious thing to point out is that the Dodgers are the 2024 World Series champions, and Freddie Freeman is your World Series MVP. The other glaringly obvious thing is if you watched this program last Friday, I did call Dodgers in five. I've got to put that part out there. I'm sorry. I just like being right. I do. I do. I like being right. And this podcast gives me that opportunity so often. And so often that we're about to hit the 2-year mark on Saturday. We'll talk a little bit more about favorite memories and stuff, but I just want to thank each and every person that has watched a second of this channel, listen to a second of a podcast or whatever, anything that we've done
yes,
for Second and Short, even if you just like watched one clip and you're hearing this podcast for the first time, thank you, because these 2 years have been phenomenal. Look, like I think I said this for episode 200 on Monday with Colin, but we're not making money here. This is simply just a passion project. I'd love to spend some time really like put out like a video or something kind of explaining the story of Second and Short, but this was really just an excuse for me and initially Brock, the original co-host of Second and Short, and still one of my
OG.
best friends to this day. And then of course my other best friend that stands I guess next to me on the screen, Luke, for us to just get a chance to come on here and just kind of talk about sports, which is what all of us share a love of. And the same goes for inviting Colin on. Colin's a lifetime friend of mine. Nathan has been a
Yep,
part of this. Ethan, my little brother, has been a
Mike
part of this. Mike, who is a
for
fantastic
sure.
friend that we've all made through work, and we're fortunate enough to bring on with us. He's been a great part of this. So I I really just want to thank everybody that has been here. Even when we were getting one view on an episode on YouTube, and when we were getting 5 downloads on episodes here and there in these like random dry spells through the year on the podcast platform. So thank you to everybody who has continued to show
Mhm.
support and everybody that will show support in the future. Whether this is your first or your 201st episode of Second and Short, thank you. Shout out to you guys. Anything,
Yeah,
Luke?
shout out to my cousin Race.
Yes.
Also in that
Yes.
he's been he listens consistently, and I appreciate you, Race.
I
I love
always
you,
see
man.
him on Instagram. He used to shoot us
Yep,
DMs asking about when we're going to talk about golf. And look,
always
I've
golf.
been pretty good about talking about the majors with Colin on Mondays.
Y-
So
yeah,
I
you
hope
have.
Race is out there appreciating that.
um, yeah. Honestly, the real person that I owe this to would definitely be you, Grayson.
Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate you inviting me on, teaching me stuff. And it was just cool because you were kind of the in route for me to like actually do something outside of school that
Yeah.
like goes along with my career.
And
Which is
that's the whole
huge.
reason that that's part of the reason I started this. Obviously the big reason was that I wanted to talk to Brock a lot more because he had moved away and we just didn't get that opportunity. And then it was like we'd talk on the phone or whatever for like 2 hours about sports. And it's like, well, why don't we just record this?
Yeah.
And so between that and school and wanting to create opportunities for myself, that's where this came from. And then, you know, obviously as me and you got to know each other a lot better, and me and you spent so many nights talking about sports at work. It just seemed like a
Mhm.
natural fit. You were a sports journalism major. You had obviously, it was unfortunate that you had just moved away when I
Literally.
invited you to be on, but
Yeah.
nonetheless, like it was a match made in heaven. So I'm glad that
Yeah.
you've been a part of it with me.
Yeah, no, for sure. And yeah, just like you, shout out to the the listeners, the people that will listen, the people that have only seen a clip, like you
Yeah.
said. And shout out to all of our collaborators. Shout out to Kyle for the book
Yeah.
sponsorship
Shout out to Kyle.
many years ago. Or, well, many years ago. It's a 2-year-old podcast, but
Yeah.
yeah, shout out to Kyle. Shout out to Colin, the current co-host. Shout out to Brock, the OG, and shout out to everybody that's been a part of it, like Ethan, Mike, and your brother Nathan.
Yeah.
It's been great. I love
Yeah.
it.
It's been awesome.
Yeah.
All right. We do have other things to talk about, though, before we get to the World Series. It's now NFL Week 9, which means we're unfortunately at the halfway point of the NFL season. It's kind of a sad
On
realization.
by.
Yeah. Like I had this
Yeah.
realization, college football show. If you haven't watched it this week, go watch it. Came out on Thursday. I brought up the fact at the beginning of that one, it's week 10 in college football, which means we're 5 weeks away from conference championship games. That's scary.
Unbelievable.
That is scary.
Yeah.
It feels like it's just
Yeah.
flown by. And the same with the NFL season. We're actually approaching the trade deadline. It's going to be next Tuesday, November 5th. So, got a lot to talk about here. We've already had a few moves that happen. We're going to notably talk about one of those for sure at some point in this episode. Um,
Hmm.
but that will be part of the NFL portion of the show. We're also on to match day 10 in the Premier League. So, kind of inching our way through that season as well. Uh, Eric Ten Hag was finally sacked. We've just been waiting for that
Wow.
one for a
Yeah.
while, and it finally happened. So he was sacked.
Yeah.
For the time
They're
being,
14th in the
oh, go
Premier
ahead.
League right now.
What was that?
They're 14th in the Premier League
Yeah,
right now.
yeah. About time.
Wild.
About time.
Yeah.
For the time
About time.
being, Ruud Van Nistelrooy is taking over in the interim, but Ruben Amorim from Sporting Lisbon is going to take over in a few weeks as their manager. And as well, next week we have Champions League Match Day 4. So a lot to talk
Yep.
about. I got one headline I want to bring up. The Braves decided that they wanted to just go ahead and get the offseason started now, not even 24 hours removed, not even like 20 hours removed from the World Series ending.
Yeah.
The Braves decided to get off to a hot start and went ahead and just traded Jorge Soler to the Angels for Griffin Canning. No money was being moved here, so the Angels will fully take on Jorge Soler's $13 million a year for the next 2 years, which is wonderful to me. And also, it clears up the air of like, okay, who's going to get the reps between Ozuna, Soler, and Acuna for right field / DH?
Yeah.
Kind of clears the air there, which makes my life easier. Obviously, look, I love Jorge Soler. I'll never forget what he did for us in 2021, but he
Yeah.
didn't really do much for us this year.
Yeah.
And it was a small sample size, but just it wasn't enough. And this team was way too beat up for him to have made any impact either way.
Yeah.
So thank you to Jorge
For
Soler.
sure.
I'm sure we'll end up trading for him at the deadline.
He'll be
And
back.
then we'll just do this all over again. Griffin Canning, not very good. Doesn't matter. All right. So today we've got World Series recap, NFL Week 9, Premier League weekend, Champions League, and then we've got some questions from Nathan. So we're going to start with the World Series because it just happened. It's obviously the biggest topic in baseball or in the world right now, honestly,
Yeah.
to talk about. So let's begin there, Luke. I know your Yankees lost, and I'm sorry for you because I know what it's like recently to win the World Series. And I'm not trying to sound like a dick. I'm not trying to rub it in or anything. I'm just saying I know how happy you would have been if it happened. And I do feel bad
Yeah.
that that was taken away from you. At the same time, I'm glad I didn't have to suspend you for 2 weeks.
What would you done without me?
You don't want to know.
Yeah, I don't want to know. Yeah, it was rough. I've only ever seen, I mean, pretty much one World Series consciously,
Yeah.
in my life with the Yankees, and that, that was fun, and I was so excited to go back. I thought that, we obviously had a lot of star power, and we looked really good, after the trade deadline. I was very confident after, getting guys like Jazz and
Yeah.
kind of watching Verdugo step up in the postseason was fun. But overall, and I kept telling this to you, even throughout like the ALDS and the ALCS, is that the Yankees just still had these kinks that just weren't worked out, and
Yeah.
games were too close. And pretty much the only reason we got through the ALCS and DS was because of our starting pitching. Our offense was super inconsistent outside of like Soto and Stanton. Sorry, we'll get to Judge in a second. Um, and the Dodgers just looked like they could expose all of that.
Yeah.
And they looked like if they were when the Dodgers were winning games, they were winning big. They rarely had any close games. I think John Smoltz said that in the broadcast last night, and it's true. Um and Yankees continued and continued to shoot themselves in the foot during the World Series, and the Dodgers just kept capitalizing.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, like we're only gonna talk about Game 5, but after Verdugo in Game 1 had that Jeter play where he flew into the crowd, made that play, and then threw the ball to the cutoff guy from the stands, which was wild. I thought we were gonna win the World Series.
Yeah.
I was like, this is magical. It's all coming together.
Yeah, and I don't
here
want
we
to
are.
I don't want us only talking about Game 5 to cloud the fact that the Yankees looked fucking amazing in Game 4. Easily the best
Yeah,
that the Yankees have looked at all. And they did it in a position where they had to. Obviously, their
for
back was
sure.
up against the wall. You're down 3-0. The fact that they even got that game to Game 5 was unreal. And it only has happened, I think it was like 6 times or something. It's something
Yeah.
unreal if you go down 3-0 in the World Series. It might not have been that low, but something
Never been
crazy
a
like
Game
that.
5.
There's never been a Game 6 after a team's gone
Game
down
6,
3.
yeah.
That's what it is. There's
Yeah.
never been a Game 6. And there wasn't in this one. But the main reason we have to talk about Game 5 is that it was
Loaded.
there's so much to talk about. Obviously, game
Yeah.
3 and Game 4, they had their moments. Game 3 was a close one down to the end, kind of like how the first 3 of these games kind of went. Or maybe I could be remembering the order of these games, but Game 3, Dodgers win, and obviously put the pressure on the Yankees. Everybody was blaming that loss on Fat Joe. brutal, brutal performance.
Could you imagine if like they chose ASAP Rocky or like what's the one? I don't know much about him, but they wanted Jadakiss. Is that how you pronounce
Oh,
his name? Is
yeah,
it
yeah.
the rapper Jada? Yeah, all the Yankee accounts wanted Jadakiss.
I feel like 50
And
Cent
then
would have been better, but I think he's a Mets fan, I guess. What about Jay-Z?
yeah,
Jay-Z would have been
uh,
perfect.
Jay-Z and Alicia Keys did their song
Oh,
together about New
Empire State
York
of
at
Mind.
the 2009 World Series. Yeah.
Okay.
Which was just crazy that we can compare that to Fat Joe because there isn't a comparison. Shout out to Fat Joe for doing it though. You know, a New Yorker. I appreciated him coming out and repping, but like Ice Cube, oh
Yeah,
man,
Ice
bro, that
Cube
was
killed.
awesome. That was
Yeah,
awesome.
that was sick. But yeah,
That was sick.
Game 3, Game 4 were pretty interesting. Game 4 obviously went the Yankees' way. It was the best offense we've seen from them probably in the entire postseason.
Shout out Volpe.
Yeah,
Big
Volpe with
shout
the
out
grand
Volpe.
slam. But Game 5 is really the big one to talk about. It's obviously the clinching game for the Dodgers, but it's also like the worst
God.
collapse I've maybe ever seen in a playoff game, at least.
Yeah.
You're up 5-0 in the 5th inning. You allow 5 unearned runs to tie this ball game.
Yeah.
And it was all things that like can't happen. Judge can't drop that line drive, pop up, whatever you want to call it, in center field. You
Volpe
can't drop that.
do whatever the hell he did.
Volpe can't mess up that play at third, or the play to third. He messed that up totally. And then Garrett Cole, who I'm not excusing what Garrett Cole did by not covering first, but what I will say is doesn't help that inning should have been over by then. Like it shouldn't have gotten past Gavin Lux that inning. And it did.
No.
And the fact that it even got to Mookie Betts that inning was kind of crazy. Obviously, Gavin Lux and Shohei struck out, which made it 2 outs. And so Garrett Cole should have been thinking, all right, I can get myself out of this. I got to cover first base. And he didn't. And I get it because you're probably demoralized. I even tweeted during that inning and I said, Garrett Cole is going to storm into the clubhouse after this inning and pack his things and leave.
Yeah.
Because they were screwing him over. Aaron Judge and Anthony Volpe single-handedly screwed over Garrett Cole and screwed over the Yankees in that game. literally in the
Yeah.
matter of plays, in the matter of 2 plays. And obviously, that's demoralizing for Garrett Cole, who up to that point was looking unreal.
And he pitched 2 more
And
innings.
then he pitched 2 more great innings. But
Yeah.
not being there to cover first base is going to haunt him forever, because that inning could have been over without what I think. No, they didn't allow any runs to that point. If they got that force out at first, the run doesn't score, and then Freddie doesn't come up Freddie wouldn't have come up and hit the 2-run single, and then Teoscar Hernandez ends up tying it up. Like, that literally ends the inning right there, and the Yankees still have a 5-0 lead in going into the 6th inning. So that's obviously
Yeah.
where it really changed. Then you take the lead back after a sac fly, and then Tommy Kahnle comes in and allows 2 straight singles and then walks Will Smith. His day's over. Not at
Yep.
all what you want to see out of a veteran relief pitcher in Tommy
And a
Kahnle.
guy who's been good the entire
Yeah.
postseason leading up to this point as well.
And
Yeah.
that screwed over Luke Weaver, who entered this game probably earlier than he was anticipating. I know,
Yep.
six out saves, whatever, but he was definitely not anticipating to come in at that point. Comes in
No.
a horrible situation with bases loaded, immediately gives up a sac fly. Then another unforced error made things worse when Austin Wells gets a catcher interference against Shohei Ohtani on just the dumbest. It's the most taught thing to every catcher. Don't put the glove out.
Yeah.
You can stick it, but you can't go out to catch the pitch. Like, it's so obvious, and it ended up loading the bases again. And then Mookie Betts hits a sac fly. The Dodgers take the lead. Now, obviously, you could have gotten the out on Shohei. You still would have had runners on the corners, so that error didn't detrimentally change anything, because after Betts hits that sac fly, Freddie strikes out. Innings over. So either way,
Yep.
probably would have happened. But you still think about the fact that maybe Shohei doesn't reach base, and then Mookie Betts flies out. That inning's over. But they take the lead on that, and then Blake Trinan, what a performance from him. Goes 2 innings, starts to slip when he gets into the 8th inning, holds on through the most pitches he has in an outing all year in this 7th and 8th inning that he pitched. And then he cleans everything up, gets out of it, doesn't allow a run. Then Walker Buehler comes in on just 2 days rest. He's 2 days removed from a start. Enters this game in the 9th inning and shuts it down. Fun fact about that was Buehler's first professional save since August 13th, 2017, which he got the save for the AAA Oklahoma City Dodgers. And in the lineup that day for the Oklahoma City Dodgers was Max Muncy and Alex Verdugo. 2 guys playing in this game on each side.
Yep.
But, of course, the Dodgers win their 2nd World Series in 5 years. And Freddie Freeman wins his 2nd World Series in 4 years. And he wins his first career World Series MVP after 4 home runs, 12 RBIs, and a .300 batting average in the World Series. He went the first 4 games of this series with a home run, and dating back to his last World Series appearance for the Braves, had 6 straight games with a homer in the World Series. Unbelievable by Freddie Freeman.
Yeah.
A guy that I willingly will say is my favorite player of all time that I've ever watched, at least. Yeah, favorite player of my lifetime, I guess, is probably what I should say. Like, he was the guy my entire time paying attention to the Braves, essentially. So to see him, I know he's not a Brave. It sucks. To see him get another ring is awesome. I wish it was with the Braves, but it's still awesome to see a guy who was like somebody that I looked up to for a number of years go out and continue to be successful, even at an even higher level.
Yeah, he killed it.
Yeah, so shout out to Freddie Freeman. He becomes one of a select group of players that have won a regular season and World Series MVP. I think it's like all Hall of Famers except Pete Rose.
Wow.
That is in that group, I believe. So pretty impressive for Freddie Freeman.
Yeah, and all of this after such a great start from the Yankees. It looked like Judge was back. He wasn't chasing as much anymore on his at-bats. Looked like a completely different player, honestly. He had that crazy catch up against the wall.
Yep.
Um, and at that point, I looked at my roommate and I said, if Aaron Judge continues like this and the Yankees hold the lead, the, the Yankees can definitely not be counted out if that is
Yeah.
happening. On top of Soto and Judge and sometimes Glaber, just playing well. Um, and yeah, you're completely right. I thought we were looking great, and then the team shit on Cole after he probably could have went, but he could have given us 8 innings if it
Yep.
stayed 5-0. Maybe even gone the whole game. I don't know if they really do that much in the postseason. I
He
haven't,
he could have, but the pitch count was getting too high. I think he was up to like
yeah.
110 when he got pulled, and he hadn't thrown over 90 pitches in months.
Well, I'm saying if the team hadn't have collapsed,
Oh, that's true. Yeah, his pitch count would have been
because
significantly lower. Yeah.
the point that I wanted to make on the other side of that was that Cole was looking good. The Dodgers were coming off of a bullpen game in Game 4, where
Yeah.
granted they didn't use a lot of people, but they
Yeah.
were deep into their bullpen in this game.
Yeah.
Which kind of I had me thinking like, okay, if we win this game, we're looking okay setting up going back to LA.
Other than them getting a day of rest. That's where I
Yeah,
think it would have really come back to bite you guys. Even if you guys sent that series back, the Dodgers get a day of rest. Shohei starts feeling better. Freddie feels better. Like, that's the thing. This Dodgers team was beat the hell up. Obviously, we already knew all the starting pitching they were missing all postseason. It was literally down
yeah,
to Flaherty, Yamamoto, and a Walker Buehler that is only he came back in August from 2 years off, essentially. So
yeah.
that was all the starting pitching they had. They had to run a bullpen game for Game 4. And this was insane. Like, Tommy Edman was a pickup at the deadline that was unreal, was the NLCS
Oh wow,
MVP. I would say he was the
yeah,
runner-up for World Series MVP. Um, people keep trying to say that this is a piece together, blah, blah, blah Dodgers team. You still had the guys in the lineup. You still had some of them. Like, you still had the top three. Those were the big ones you needed. And Shohei didn't show up.
no,
I think Shohei and Judge were 2 for 18 at one point. I think going into
yeah,
that final game, they were both 2 for 18. Shohei went like 30 at bats without a home run, which is like the third longest stretch of his career without a home run. But you still had those guys, and then you just kind of filled in the pieces. Teoscar Hernandez was a huge part of this team as well all year. Continued
DK,
to be in this game. Kike Hernandez just shows up like he does in the playoffs. Um,
big,
and you just had a number of guys just kind of do their job. And,
yeah.
and that's what wins championships. I know that, going into the year, we're talking about a super team, blah, blah, blah. They lost just about all the starting pitching they had. And
Yeah,
we're still able to
yeah.
get to that point. Is pretty impressive.
And that was another big difference is outside of your 1, 2, and 3, and maybe I would say 4 guys just to give Stanton that credit in there. The Yankees didn't have much. Verdugo had his moments where he stepped up, wasn't all that great. Jazz again, 1 or 2 moments here or there. Overall, not very good.
Yeah, other than the solo
Labor,
shot in Game 5.
yeah. Volpe struggled at the plate, until that one moment. Like, just nobody was consistent outside of like Soto and Judge.
Yeah,
Or I keep saying that, Soto and Stanton.
yeah, Soto and Stanton
Um,
were the only guys that had life all the way through the postseason.
yeah.
But I'll give them both the credit here. Though Stanton hasn't had any deep playoff runs, he's a veteran in this league. He's obviously been around for a long time. He was a part of
Yeah.
a couple of Yankees runs in the playoff, but Soto has been here before. Soto's one of the few guys in that entire Yankees lineup that's been here before, and he showed it.
Yeah.
And the rest of the team also showed that they hadn't been there before.
Yeah.
And I think that was really telling about this Yankees team. Because look, the Dodgers, the least experienced guy in the playoffs on that team is Shohei Ohtani. And it's Shohei
Yeah.
Ohtani. It doesn't matter. But like, after that, Tommy Edman is probably the least experienced. Gavin Lux has been there for some runs. And Freddie's won a World Series in the past and been to the NLCS like every fucking year for a couple of years,
Mhm.
or at least the
Yeah.
NLDS. He's made some NLCS runs. I think he's made 3 NLCS runs over the past 5 years. And then obviously Mookie Betts is he won a World Series with the Dodgers and the Red Sox. These guys had experience. Walker Bueller's been there before. And Jack Flaherty hasn't necessarily been there before, but he pitched in big moments for the Cardinals in the past. Like, these were the right guys for this situation. And we also
Yeah.
saw the guys that you maybe weren't thinking about step up. Yamamoto, who was abysmal all year, essentially, stepped up and gave them some quality starts throughout this postseason and in the World Series. I think game 2 was the best we've seen from Yamamoto maybe all year. And it
Yeah.
was game
Could have
2 of the
been.
World Series.
Yeah.
I think the Dodgers just had the perfect, and it's what every team takes to win a World Series. They had the perfect storm of these guys got hot and these guys stayed hot and these guys got healthy, and whatever it took, they found it. Like they
Yeah.
went through this postseason without a real closer.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
that's crazy. It's crazy, and they still found a way to get it done. So I want to shout out the Dodgers because I don't want the stigma around this to be like, oh, they bought this championship, whatever. They had to do the same shit that everybody else has done. It wasn't just bought. I will give them that credit.
Yeah, and I also want to commend the Dodgers as well. They were just better, and they capitalized on us over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So yeah, shout out to the Dodgers. They're a phenomenal baseball team, and they had a path with a lot of variables.
Yeah. I would say they
That,
maybe had the most
know,
difficult path of any team in this playoff.
yeah,
Other
I
than
don't
the
know the
fact that they
Mets.
got the bye, yeah, like the Mets would be the other team, but the Mets came up against the Dodgers. So
Yeah,
I think the only thing is that like the Dodgers were fortunate enough to get the bye, so that helps them out. But going up against the Padres and then the hottest team in the second half of the season, then the hottest team or the other hottest team in the second half of the season, and then you go up against the Yankees, who were like the second or like the number 1 team in the AL all year,
yeah,
against the number 1 team in the NL all year. It was a tough route for the Dodgers, and everybody acknowledged the fact that the Yankees kind of got by the skin of their teeth against some relatively weak opponents on their run to the World Series. And I think that's why
yeah.
they got caught off guard so early in this series.
Um, yeah. Aaron Judge. And this is kind of I think this is probably the last point that I want to
Yeah,
talk about. Aaron Judge. Al. Uh,
not great. Not a great week for him.
damn it, man. I hate to say it, but like this is for at least for me a genuine stain on his career. If he never goes back, I will
Yeah,
always remember this.
yeah,
And like, he's been great and I want to give him his flowers. He is the captain. But wow. Like completely shit the bed. Absolutely shit the bed. And he's the type of guy that probably could have carried a lot of that weight that wasn't being carried by the guys outside of,
mhm,
Soto and Stanton.
I agree.
So, yeah, brutal. Absolutely brutal. My heart literally dropped when Verdugo struck out. Like I
Yeah,
just sunk.
yeah,
And I watched them celebrate a little bit just for the history, but nah, that was bad. That was really bad
fair.
overall.
Shout
Yeah.
out before we move on. Shout out to Clayton Kershaw and Tyler Glasnow. Clayton Kershaw, in about 10 years, we're gonna forget about the fact that he didn't play in this World Series or this postseason whatsoever, and we're still gonna credit him with 2 World Series that have huge asterisks on his career
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
he didn't play in one of them, and the other one was in COVID. And so we're just gonna
Yeah.
like he's gonna walk into the Hall of Fame with 2 World Series, and we're not gonna bat an eye at that accomplishment. But also shout out to Clayton Kershaw. I love him. And then shout out to Tyler
Yeah.
Glasnow. I've been waiting for this guy to get a shot. Unfortunately, he wasn't a part of it, but
Yeah.
he was there, and he's gonna get a ring. So Shout out to
He's
him
a
as well.
he's a sick pitcher.
Yeah,
Yeah.
love Tyler Glasnow. Even Dustin May, a guy who's just been dealing with injuries literally his entire time as a professional, honestly, um, gets a ring for the Dodgers, which is awesome. Um,
Yeah.
let's take a pause real quick, and then we're gonna get into NFL Week 9. All right, NFL Week 9 preview. We'll start off with some Thursday night football. Texans Jets. Jets are a 2.5 point favorite. Obviously, the Texans sustaining injury after injury. Still no Nico Collins this week. I think he's got to sit one more week as well. And obviously, Stephon Diggs, his season is over with that
Mm.
non-contact ACL tear that he had last week. So, an interesting game. Obviously, it'll have already happened by the time you guys are listening to this. But what are we thinking about these two teams? I don't love where the Jets are at right now. I've not been impressed by Aaron Rodgers, and I think me and you are both very much admitted Aaron Rodgers fans. But
Yeah.
I just haven't been impressed.
Um. Yeah, I don't know. To be honest, and this could be biased. I don't really know how much of their troubles falls on him per se, but they are absolute hot garbage. I
Yeah,
cannot believe they lost to the Patriots, especially after looking so good against them on Thursday night not too long ago, like a couple weeks ago. Um, but yeah, their whole team is discombobulated. They went
Mhm.
all out and made a huge move for Devonte Adams, and he's now 0-2 with this team so far.
and he really hasn't had a good
And
game yet.
yeah, they have so many pieces, dude. So many pieces just all over the field on both sides of the ball. I can't see a lot of these guys coming back after a year or two. I think the Jets are going to lose a lot of their talent
They've got to figure out the
eventually,
coaching situation. Obviously, you put
for
yourself in
sure.
a compromised position firing your head coach so early in the year.
Which was stupid, and they did it in a
Yeah.
dumb way too.
Yeah. And I look, I'll sit here all year and say it, and it's not going to happen. But Nathaniel Hackett's got to get fired.
Yeah,
Because I don't. It doesn't matter. Whatever coach comes in is firing Nathaniel Hackett. That's not going to
yeah,
change anything. I assure you, there is not a person that could take over as head coach next year for this Jets team and think, let's keep Nathaniel Hackett on as the offensive coordinator. Maybe they'll be nice enough to let him be the passing game coordinator or whatever he wants to be. He will
yeah,
not be the offensive coordinator. He's already not calling plays, so he's not going to be doing that for sure. And if Aaron Rodgers has a hissy fit over it, guess what? We'll draft somebody else. That's the
yeah,
mentality that a head coach has to do or has to have coming into this Jets organization next year because they have only put themselves in a worse position letting Aaron Rodgers have his way with their franchise, especially at this point in his career.
yeah. I completely agree for
And I
sure.
hate to do it because I was one of the people that was like, as soon as Rodgers is part of this system, they're going to go to the moon, blah, blah, blah. It's not. It's not the case. He's clearly aged. He's clearly affected by the multitude of injuries he has had. And it doesn't help that he does not have the coaching staff around him. He's got the talent. There is talent all over the place. But for some reason, him and Garrett Wilson are not on the same page. Him and Mike Williams might as well not know each other's names.
Yeah,
And like, I feel bad for Mike Williams. Get that guy out of there
I do too.
before Tuesday. Get him out of there.
I I saw him going to the Commanders, or rumored to, which would be a really good
Oh,
place for him to land.
that would be awesome.
The deep ball guy.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah,
awesome.
but like, dude, I love Mike Williams, and to the point that you just made, like, I thought he was going to be really good on this team. I thought
Yeah,
it was a very underrated offseason move by the Jets, and to see him where he's at now, he just doesn't deserve it. He does
no,
not need to be a part of this system anymore because he is. I do not want people to forget how good Mike Williams actually is,
yeah, I agree.
and that's happening big time right now, and it's not his fault.
No. And on the flip side of this matchup, the Texans are in a super weird spot. They are one of the worst offensive lines I've seen this year. I think part of it's injuries and part of it is just guys not playing well enough. CJ Stroud has no time to throw the ball, and now he's out his top two receiving options. Expect Tank Dell to get a lot of screen passes because he's very good after the catch, but you're going to have to get other guys involved. Like, you know, um, why am I totally blanking? John Mechie is going to have to get
Yeah,
involved, and I think is Brevin Jordan still there?
maybe.
I feel like he might be. He might need to get involved. Dalton Schultz definitely needs to be involved. Joe Mixon is going to
Yeah,
just continue to eat. That guy's been unbelievable. Probably like a top three
yeah,
running back this year. He's been
yeah. He's been
unstoppable
great.
when he's healthy. And yeah, I really don't know the way that this game's going to go because both of these defenses have been awesome.
Yeah, for
Jets
sure.
defense hasn't been perfect, and neither is the Texans, but they've been fun to watch.
Yeah, I agree. I'm ready to give a score prediction.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm gonna take the Texans 7 or no Texans 20, Jets 14.
Okay. Yeah. I look. I know, like me, Mike, and Nathan and Colin are gonna sit in Discord tonight and watch this game. Luke, you're welcome to join. And
Appreciate it.
and I would love to say it's gonna be entertaining. It's not. It's not gonna be fun.
Yeah,
This game is
no.
probably good. I'll give this as my prediction. I'm gonna go Jets 17, Texans 13.
Oh, taking the 2-6 guys.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel weird about it. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm doing it, but I just something about this game is weird. It's already Thursday night football. It's Halloween. Things get
Yeah,
weird. Don't you remember? I think it was 2 years ago. Cleveland versus Cincinnati on Halloween. I don't know
I do
why I
not remember
vividly
that.
remember that game being like really odd. I think it was like super high scoring, and I think the Browns upset the Bengals.
Oh, okay.
Nonetheless, let's get into Sunday's games. So we'll start off with my Falcons. The Cowboys are coming to town. Falcons 3-point favorites at home. Lots of questionables on the defenses for both of these teams. It looks like Deron Bland, Trayvon Diggs, and Micah Parsons are trying to get back. None of them participated in practice on Wednesday. I haven't looked at
Mm,
Thursday's update because I took these notes before it happened. So let me take a look at that real quick. But
okay.
on the Falcons side as well for Wednesday's practices, Justin Simmons, Caden Ellis, and Troy Anderson were all limited. So they're trending towards playing for sure. Um, Cowboys, let's see. We've got they're saying that Parsons is not quite there yet. When they were asked about his chances of suiting up on Sunday, so probably not going to see Micah Parsons this week, and didn't get a Thursday update for Bland or Diggs, so they're still both questionable, but did not practice on Wednesday.
Okay.
I
Um.
I don't know how
hmm,
to feel about this game. I know that the Cowboys have not been that good offensively. I'm very aware of
Yep.
that. There's just something about the Falcons defense right now that is throwing me for a loop. They're just
Yeah.
not they're not quite there right now. Outside of Jesse Bates, nobody's really performing. We still can't pressure a quarterback to save our goddamn lives. AJ Terrell gets put in a body bag by a competent wide receiver every other week. Like it's unreal.
Yeah, no, it's been a bizarre time for the Falcons defense, but the turnovers have helped y'all out a lot. I feel like
Yes.
the Falcons are always good for like a pick here and there, and sometimes that can kind of offset the way that a team is able to move the
Yeah.
ball against you if you're a team that's able to get turnovers. Offensively, I think the Falcons overall have been great.
Mhm.
The Cowboys can match that if they play like they did in the fourth quarter against the 49ers. They were rolling.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought the Cowboys were going to come back and win that game. But yeah, defensively, the Cowboys are just beat up. So overall, I'm kind of leaning towards Atlanta. Another thing about the Cowboys' offense is they won't have a run game against y'all.
No.
That's a given. Please, for the love of God, just use Dalvin Cook. Make us all feel
Yeah.
better.
Please,
Because
dude.
I still haven't really been proven that Dalvin Cook is washed yet.
Mm-mm.
You know, he had a weird season starting out with New York, the Jets last year.
Yeah.
Didn't really get playing time very much anywhere else. So just use the guy.
Yeah. Give him a shot.
So
Why not? I
yeah,
know he's
give
got a
him a
bad
shot.
injury history, but damn. Um yeah,
Zeke is just fat.
yeah.
I'm like, he can't do
Zeke
anything.
is kind of fat. Um let's go ahead and just do score predictions for this game. I don't really know what else I have to say about the Falcons. Like the offense, we just need
Yeah.
to find some consistency there. If we're gonna pass, if we're gonna throw, or shit, if we're gonna pass, we're gonna run. Uh,
There we go.
um, but we gotta figure out the attack as soon as we can and establish it quickly. That's my biggest thing for this game. So I'm going with the Falcons at the Benz, and I'm gonna go Falcons 20, Falcons 28, Cowboys 24.
I'm gonna go Falcons 24, Cowboys 21.
Okay, both got the
Yep.
Falcons. And our next game, Dolphins Bills, week 2 with Tua back for the Dolphins. Bills a 6-point favorite at home. This one feels like it could still get interesting. The Dolphins
Yeah.
with Tua in, I know the offense wasn't great last week, but with Tua in, there's something there. It's going to
You
take some
know,
time.
what I've seen a lot of with Tua Tagovailoa when he plays against the Bills is dog shit.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm not going to rule out the fact that this game could be interesting, but the entire time that this Dolphins team has been considered a contender, when they run up against the Buffalo Bills, home or away, they get shit on
Yeah.
every single time. There's absolutely no reason, going into my score prediction, not yet, obviously, but like this game will be decided by more than 2 possessions, and it's gonna be the Bills.
Okay.
I'm pretty confident.
Yeah, I think, we talked about this a little bit last week that the addition of Amari Cooper has unlocked the potential of this wide receiver room. Because I
John
talked
Coleman especially.
going into this season, I thought, okay, this Bills wide receiver room isn't as bad as it seems. It's just a lot of guys that aren't proven. Well, I think we've seen a problem with a lot of teams where there's too many cooks in the kitchen. There was no cooks in this kitchen. Josh Allen and James Cook were the cooks, and that was it.
Yeah.
Well, James Cook was already a cook, but and now you add Amari Cooper, and all of a sudden there is somebody to focus on, and that opens the door to allow Keon Coleman to have a good game, to allow Khalil Shakir to look good or have a good game or whatever you want, or allow Kincaid or Dawson Knox on any given day to show up, score a touchdown, maybe have like 50, 60 yards. That's what I want to see, and Amari Cooper opened that door. So
no, I 100% agree.
yeah, and going against the Dolphins especially, this isn't a defense that's, blown anybody away this year. So don't count them out to do the same thing against them. Like I feel
sure.
like the Bills are just written right now to win this game.
Yeah. And if you're the Dolphins, I really like the Devon Achane and Raheem Mostert, kind of duo that they got. The Dolphins, they really run the ball a lot. And I think, your key to winning should be to do that against the Bills. I know you have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, but like, I don't know, just try something different at this point. It's always touted to be a good game when these two teams play each other. It never is, never has been. I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills 34-21.
Okay. I'm going to go Bills 27-10.
Okay.
I think their defense is good enough that when Raheem Mostert is rushing for like 2 yards per carry like he has every week since he's come back, they'll be just fine.
Yeah.
All right, next game, Raiders-Bengals. Big-time home favorite, the Bengals. 7-point favorites at home. The issue is they're 0-4 at home. But the Raiders are weird. Like, probably more on the bad side of weird. But Brock Bowers is a dog.
Brock Bowers has been probably the best tight end in the league so far.
Ever since Devontae Adams left, it has just unlocked the abilities of Brock Bowers. It's unreal.
Oh,
Michael Mayer was such a waste of a draft pick 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah. And yeah, he needs to get out of there quick for his sake. But I tried to tell you, Grayson, and I will say I let you convince me otherwise, but I told you the Raiders were going to make it weird against the Chiefs. I tried to.
No, and
they did.
I'm going to give you that credit because they did.
Alexander Madison on my fantasy team in our league, a whopping 14 carries for 15 yards. That is honestly impressive.
Alexander Madison
that's pretty good.
Might need to retire. He's good for like a touchdown every other week, but it's a 1-yard touchdown, and it took like 3 carries to get it.
Oh, for sure. And is it fair to say that like we've kind of seen a pretty hard down year for Max Crosby? No?
Yeah, well, he started off getting banged up early in this year, early this season, and I think that's just kind of altered the course for him a little bit. I think it's also just he he's not on a good team. Like
Yeah.
nothing is setting him up. He's having to do
Well,
it all on his own.
relative to like I would say a guy that he gets compared to a lot, TJ Watt. TJ Watt, really hasn't been all that healthy. And when
Yeah.
he comes back, he's there
But I think for
every
TJ
time.
Watt's sake, there's other contributors on that defense that people are afraid of and that you
That's
have to
for
think
like
about. There is
yeah.
nobody to be worried about on the other side of the ball if you're an offense playing the Raiders,
Yeah.
other than Max Crosby.
No, the Raiders picked up someone big on there. Was it John Jenkins? Is that?
Clelin Ferrell, maybe? Was that who they picked up?
No, no. Oh my God, Christian Wilkins. Is he
Christian
hurt
Wilkins, that's
though?
who it is. I always mix him and Clelin Ferrell up for some reason.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if he's hurt
I have no idea.
or healthy or not.
I don't know.
Well, anyway, I think we can move to the Bengals now. And the Bengals, I guess kind of like the Raiders, except for the Bengals actually have star power that you can pick out. The
Yeah.
the Raiders don't really, but the Bengals have had just a really really weird start to their season. And last season, or sorry, last week, I thought that they had a good chance of beating this Eagles team, but the Eagles looked really really good
Yeah,
against the Bengals.
it was definitely the best the offenses looked for the Eagles by far. The defense looked pretty solid too. No T. Higgins for the Bengals. I think we do need to point out the fact that the 3 wins that that the Bengals have this season are the Panthers, Giants, and Browns. And that was the
And they're
Browns
0-4
with
at home.
Deshaun Watson starting. They're 0-4
Yeah.
at home. They're 3-5 on the season. And they just have the most injured defense. It was already a bad defense. And then all the starters got hurt. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what they can do anymore, honestly. Like Dax Hill's on the IR. He will be for a couple more weeks. That's brutal. T. Higgins didn't practice again today, so he's probably not going to go this weekend again. On the offensive line, you've got some guys that are hurt as well. It's just like nothing is going the Bengals' way on the injuries side, and it doesn't help that I haven't been impressed when they are healthy.
Yeah, I love and this is just me being a petty, AFC North fan, is I love how the Bengals brought back Von Bell to get not even a shell of what Von Bell was for the Bengals. Yeah, it's really telling against this Eagles team where Cam Taylor-Britt had the most solo tackles. That's not good.
No, that means
Not
they were
good at
catching
all.
passes too far down the field.
Yeah, and all of this to come to the conclusion, Raiders 23, Bengals 17.
Okay. I'm going to go
Yeah.
with the Bengals. I'm falling for it again. I think they've been favored at home in every time they've played at home too, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go with them to finally win a home game only because of the ineptitudes of the Raiders. I'm going to go Bengals 17, Raiders 13. Pretty bad game.
Like it. Yeah.
All right, next game, Chargers Browns. Another bad matchup. The Chargers 1.5 point favorites on the road. Is Jameis Winston the savior?
Oh yeah.
I,
He is.
I couldn't be more happy that Jameis Winston just showed up and balled the fuck out last week.
I
And not
know.
only that, he beat the Ravens.
Yeah.
That's unreal.
No, it's incredible. And like I just going into previewing this game on last week's podcast, I just I could feel some kind of magic. I really could.
Yeah.
Just with the media attention that Jameis was getting was just so positive, and
Yeah.
and it was built up, and I was hyped up. I love this guy. You're a Florida State fan. Of
course.
You love this guy.
One of probably my
Jameis
favorite Seminole ever.
No, Jameis is genuinely probably one of my favorite NFL players, and
Awesome.
I'm so happy that he showed out against Baltimore.
He's
happy.
he's so much fun, and like the fucking video of him before the game where he's like, "We're playing for the patch on this jersey. We're playing for we don't have decals on the helmet, but like, dude, it's so
Yeah.
good." And like after the game, just like deadpan, getting interviewed, just being like, saying something about like, to the effect of like this was God's, plan, like we just fulfilled his prophecy, like all this stuff. He's
Yeah,
awesome. I love Jameis Winston so much.
me too.
And he brings so much life to this Browns team that has just been like, especially at quarterback, has just been a laughing stock forever. But also
Yeah.
with this horrible human you had starting at quarterback prior, Jameis Winston is just the antithesis of it, and I love that.
Yeah, no, like I mean, think about it. I'm almost 23. You are 21,
Yeah.
about to turn 22. Um, it's they have been shit at quarterback, and not only shit, but like you said, the laughing stock for our entire
Yeah.
lives. And it's
Yeah.
why does this feel like the first time it's actually like? Well, I guess there was some confidence around Baker
Yeah.
for just a
Baker had
little
some
bit, but
years.
like but Jameis Winston, and it's so weird because he's only played one game. This is probably one of the most exciting things that's happened to them at quarterback
Oh, yeah.
in the
Oh,
last
yeah.
in our entire lives, which is wild, and I love it. It's Jameis Winston.
Yeah. I love Jameis.
It's Jameis Winston, baby.
But on the other side, the Chargers should not be slept on. Justin Herbert is finding his stride. J.K. Dobbins has been pretty solid. He's kind of slowed it down past couple of weeks, but he's been pretty solid. Lad McConkey turned things up last week. I think he had a 2-touchdown game,
Holy
over
shit!
100 yards. He was killing it. This Chargers team is nothing to scoff at. And I got to give Jim Harbaugh some credit. He's totally changed the culture for them. That's the biggest thing.
And
Whether what they do
yep,
on the field actually changes, or like, whether the record even changes. What he's brought from a culture standpoint is massive. Also, Joey Bosa is starting to come back, which is a big asset for them.
damn, it's a big asset, but damn. Um, no, and you can tell too. Like, I mean, the Chargers are sitting at 4-3. It isn't the best, but for the first time in a while, and I think you can agree with this, especially since you just brought up the culture change that Harbaugh brought. But like, they are grinding for their wins
Yep.
and having fun while they're doing it. Like they're really embracing the grind. And I've said it so many times this season, but Justin Herbert, pretty much losing all of his weapons and really just having to figure out how to like just be better on him.
Yeah.
He has been. This is probably one of my favorite Justin Herbert seasons,
I'm
and
so glad.
his stats really haven't even looked that great.
I'm so glad you're
Um,
finally turning around on Justin Herbert, because I've been singing
I'm
his
coming
praises
around.
since he came into this league about how good he really is, and
Yeah.
nobody wanted to stick with him except me. I've been riding for Justin Herbert so long, and I'm finally reaping the benefits of it.
For sure. And wanted to talk about also, obviously, as you guys probably know, avid listeners, I am recording this episode from Athens. I did not think Lad McConkey was going to be this good.
I did.
Oh,
I thought
man.
I knew Lad would have an impact. I didn't know if he was going to do what he did last week. I knew Lad would have a big impact. Harbaugh
Yeah, and
knows how to
it's
use all sorts of wide receivers. That's what I will give him credit for. Something he did at Michigan very well. Shit,
yeah.
ask Roman Wilson. He made Roman Wilson look like a great draft pick.
Yeah, now check him out.
I think he's on the IR.
But yeah, he is. And then also J.K. Dobbins, just offering
Yeah.
this Chargers team something they haven't had since prime Melvin Gordon, which is crazy to say, but that was a while ago by now.
It was a very long time.
It's so yeah, this Chargers team is just so much fun. Like I said, they're sitting at 4-3. It isn't the best, but the culture's changed, and I'm here for it. So Chargers Browns, give me Jameis Winston, baby.
Yeah.
Give me Jameis. Score prediction. I'm gonna go a good one, like a 28 to maybe like 24
Ooh,
Browns.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fuck it. I'm going with Jameis too. I wasn't gonna, but I am now. Give me the Browns 24, Chargers 21, and Nick Chubb scores 2 touchdowns.
And you got to think too, and I kind of want to defend myself for picking a 2-6 team. With Jameis giving them solid quarterback play, the defense will finally get their breaks.
Exactly, dude.
And
They
they
just
will
need to
start to
get
come
off
alive.
the field.
Yeah, they just need to get off the field. So yeah, give me Jameis. I'm glad that you took him too.
All right, Patriots Titans, worst game of the week, maybe worst game of the year. God, this is horrible. Titans are a 3.5-point favorite. That's how you know how bad this game really is that they had to make somebody the favorite in this game, and it's the Titans.
Yeah.
I hate it
Don't go
so
back and
much.
don't go back and listen to any episode where we talked about the Titans before the season started.
No, everything, all the
Just don't
wheels have
listen
just
to it.
fallen off. D-Hop's
Completely.
gone. Will Levis sucks,
Yeah.
and he's hurt. Oh, man. Brian Callahan ruined this team. I'll say it. I think if Vrabel was still there, they'd be fine. Not great. They'd be
I'm
better than this.
definitely not going to disagree with you. I mean, it was cool to see Calvin Ridley go nuclear last week on my bench in fantasy, I would like to admit. Tyler Boyd, trash. Okonkwo, also trash. I'm tired of giving him the benefit of the doubt. Tony Pollard, really, I would say probably your most consistent player. Yeah, he's been all right. And even though the Patriots only have one more win than Tennessee, Grayson, I still feel like the Patriots have proven that they can, like, hang in there sometimes.
Yeah, and I'll throw this out. I saw this. I got the Twitter notification like early in this recording. Drake May practiced today, coming off the concussion last week. So we might see him start this coming week.
Very good.
So if that changes your opinion at all, you can use that information.
Well, I definitely wasn't going to pick the Titans anyway. Jacoby Brissett could start, and I'd still take the Patriots. Okay, but fair. Yeah, Jared Goff, 85 yards, 3 touchdowns. His team scored 52 points. How did that happen?
bad field
Unbelievable.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Bad turnovers and bad spots for the Titans.
Should we just go ahead and give a prediction with this guy?
Oh, yeah.
Patriots 17, Titans 6.
Ooh. All right, I'm about to do some fuck shit.
Don't pick the Titans, Greg.
I'm not. 10-10.
Okay.
Tie.
Oh!
Yeah.
If this ends in a tie, I might never. I'm not going to.
Even if it's not 10-10 and it does end in a tie, that's insane.
Or I'm going to start asking you shit about me. What's going to happen to me tomorrow?
Yeah, Lucy, but what grade am I going to get on this assignment? If they actually tie, that's going to be insane.
That would be stupid.
All right, next game. Commanders, 4-point favorites on the road, taking on the Giants. Will Jaden Daniels win his 7th Offensive Rookie of the Week this season?
Will Jaden Daniels win MVP?
Exactly. Well, actually, the bigger thing is, will MetLife Stadium this guy? It can't. Please don't. Please don't.
Oh, no. Man.
That's what I'm afraid
I don't
of.
see
That's the biggest thing I'm going to be watching this game for is, will that turf give Jaden Daniels a break?
Do you bench him this game?
Maybe. I think Mariota could beat the Giants.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Mariota's looked okay in this offense, actually.
Yeah.
Not bad at all.
No.
Yeah, the Commanders are crazy, and I'm so glad I got to see the end of their last game live. So thankful that I got to watch that.
Me and Colin had the craziest 15 minutes sitting on the couch watching those games. First, he wins $1,000 on a bet he wasn't paying attention to that he placed in the
Colin did?
Oh, you didn't hear about this?
No.
So Colin was in. I talked about it at the beginning of Monday's episode, but Colin was in Tennessee on Sunday morning, and I told him, I was like, "Oh, dude, just do some DraftKings bets instead of doing like Prize Picks, and then better you're not allowed to use in Tennessee." So I was like, "Yeah, just do DraftKings, whatever." He puts in, some whatever amount of money, they'll match him on a couple of things, whatever. So he had like a bet he put like $25 on. I think it was actually the pick 6 thing that they do. But he put the $25 on it, and he had activated something to give him 30% back on whatever he wins on his first win. And just out of the blue, we're sitting there, and he gets the notification that says, "You went 7 for 7. $938 or whatever is being deposited into your account." And he looks at it, he like freezes up, and he shows me his phone. And he goes, "Why did I just get this notification?" And I was like, "Dude, click on it." He clicks on it, and then we noticed his account was at $1,300. And it's because of that
Oh, wow.
30% that he also got
Yeah.
on top of it. So yeah, Colin Colin did that, and then 15 minutes later was that Hail Mary. It was an
Unbelievable.
insane day of watching
How
some
did
football.
Colin stay alive?
Dude, I don't know.
Damn,
It's
that's
crazy.
a lot of stimulation there,
Yeah.
like, too much.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, shout out Colin, though, that's great. I did not hear about that.
It was pretty awesome.
Good for him. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, the Giants suck, but, if we're gonna come on here and toot our horn about predictions, Tyrone Tracy Jr.
Been
might need to
great.
just buy his jersey. Might get his face tatted on my chest. Like, genuinely, he's kind of become, like, one of my favorite NFL
Yeah.
players.
I'll
I
get
I
Malik
really like
Neighbors.
him.
I'll get Malik Neighbors.
You
You
can have
get
Malik
Tyrone
Neighbors.
Tracy.
Yeah,
I'll put Wandale
and
Robinson on my ass cheek too. He's been pretty good.
I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say this as well, and you might think I'm crazy. I still see a blueprint with what the Giants are doing. I don't think that they're all that bad, to be honest with you.
There's
Maybe
a
defensively,
if
but
if Daniel Jones from 2021 or
yeah,
2022, I guess, if that
yeah,
Daniel Jones was what we were seeing right now, this team might have 6 wins.
yeah,
If that was the Daniel Jones we had, because look, Saquon was very good that year, but he wasn't the best player on that offense. It was Daniel Jones. Saquon missed a decent amount of time that year too.
yeah.
If he had Tyrone Tracy and Malik Neighbors, Darius Slayton, Wandale Robinson, it would be fucking amazing.
Oh, I
It's
know.
just Daniel Jones is not on the same page as these guys right now. And also, offensive line's banged up. And the guys they picked up this offseason for the offensive line, I thought would have had huge impacts. They really haven't changed shit.
Yeah.
Other problem, defense. Not a soul on that defense outside of that defensive line that matters. Dexter Lawrence is single-handedly just absolutely manhandling 350-pound men.
Oh,
That sounds
he looked good
crazy.
against the Steelers.
But that man would not give up at all, even against the Steelers. And I'm pointing out that game in particular. He was just tossing guys.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah,
He's an
and
animal.
and Bobby Okereke, you can't forget about him either.
Yeah.
But then again, like his job is just tackles, and like when teams are getting like 6 yards against y'all, then it's just kind of like,
Yeah.
like he tackled him. So like he's kind of gotten completely clouded by how bad the defense is. But going back to the point, they have some super entertaining weapons, like Wandale Robinson stepping up. Darius Slayton's always good for a weird game here or
Yeah.
there.
He's
And
a
Malik
guy I'm
Neighbors
hearing
is a total
trade
dog.
rumors about a lot. Darius Slayton.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, me
one I'm
too.
hearing a lot about, but
I've
we'll
saw
see.
I've saw him to the Commanders sometimes as well, in some of the rumors that I've seen. And Malik Neighbors is just a dog,
Yeah, he's awesome.
just a total
I
dog.
love Malik Neighbors.
I'm gonna give a score prediction here though.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take the Commanders 24, Giants 13.
Okay. I think we're going to see a big offensive week. Commanders have been kind of slowed down a little bit, especially with last week's game, going up against a significantly worse defense in Chicago. So I'm going to go Commanders 35. I think they're just going to wake up here. Commanders 35, Giants 14.
Like it.
All right. Saints, 7-point favorites on the road versus the Carolina Panthers. Derek Carr is back, but he did say he is no savior, which is pretty
No,
odd.
don't say that.
He literally said that, which if I had to guess based on Derek Carr, probably more in a religious frame of mind, saying that he is no savior. But he also he isn't as a quarterback.
No.
Luckily, they're playing the Panthers, and Bryce Young is starting again. Might see Jonathan Brooks though.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, might see Jonathan.
Very
Brooks.
excited about that. I imagine the Panthers just winning out.
Just because of Jonathan Brooks.
Yeah, just because of Jonathan Brooks. Yeah, you know how I feel about a certain player on the Saints, and
Yeah.
all that I have to say is, somebody please just trade for Alvin Kamara. I cannot
He's not going
watch
anywhere.
him.
They re-signed him.
Dude, he is fucked on this team.
Yeah, he's
so
the
ba-
kind of guy I think that's just gonna stick it out.
and that's wild because he is amazing.
Yeah. And he'll never
He's
sniff a
amazing.
Super Bowl
Absolutely
as
not.
long as he's a Saint.
Yeah, and it's just crazy like how far the Saints have come. Like first 2 weeks, they were the best team in the NFL.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
It just
Unreal.
and maybe with Derek Carr coming back, maybe things can kind of like come back. But I don't know. 2-6 already seems like such a bad place to be.
Yeah.
So I think that they're probably shot. And then as for the Panthers, I mean,
They
Bryce
found a way
Young
to get
starting, I
worse.
guess will be yeah.
They traded Deontay
Bryce,
Johnson.
oh yeah, that's right to Baltimore.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They can't help themselves.
no. And I think you should have Thielen coming back soon, right? Maybe this week, right?
I hope
I,
so.
I don't know, but I mean, there's really not a lot to talk about with the Panthers,
No.
is there? I guess Bryce Young starting is your biggest bit of news there.
Yeah, for the second week in a row, it's great.
Yeah,
Look, if he
that's
wants to
right.
play well, he's welcome to. He probably won't.
He's welcome
Yeah.
to.
Look, I'm gonna go ahead and just give a score prediction because this game sucks.
Yeah,
Give me the Saints 20, Panthers 10.
I'm gonna take the Saints 24, Panthers 7.
Okay. Next
Yeah.
game, Broncos Ravens. Ravens 9-point favorites at home. Just acquired Deontay Johnson. That offense is right where it should be now. With the addition of Deontay Johnson, I can't poke a hole anywhere. Honestly.
Is Deontay Johnson really all of that though?
Well, he adds a second option at wide receiver that is actually capable of, catching the ball and scoring touchdowns. Other than
I mean, I
Rashad
guess
Bateman every 4 weeks.
yeah. I don't know. A part of me just kind of thinks it's like the passing scheme that Baltimore uses, and I don't really know how to elaborate on that. But I just feel like even with Zay Flowers has definitely give them a pretty decent wide receiver one option.
Yeah.
I really don't even feel like he's all that consistent compared to a lot of other wide receiver ones, though.
Agreed.
So I don't really know where Deontay Johnson is going to fit into this team, but like you said, he will add, he would have the best career of any wide receiver on this team so
for
far.
sure.
And he's still kind of young as well. So
I think the nice thing is he is like a relatively big physical wide receiver, which is a lot different from Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman. So you add him into this offense. You've already seen Mark Andrews turning things around. And of course, Isaiah Likely is capable of doing things week in, week out. Derrick Henry is unstoppable. This guy's been unreal. Yeah. Lamar Jackson's having another MVP season right now. And the last couple of weeks, he hasn't even really had to run the ball. Last week they lost, but still, he hasn't even really been running the ball. He's been letting Derrick Henry kind of take that over. Adding that passing option is huge. Even if he doesn't have a great season, I think it just totally opens things up for the entire offense.
I'm surprised you called him a big wide receiver.
Deontay? I feel like, he's 6'1"?
He's 5'10".
Really?
Yeah, that's a route run guy.
Yeah,
but he
is small. That's weird.
Yeah, he has had a pretty good track record, at least with Big Ben, of catching crazy contested physical passes, though.
I don't know why. I always thought he was bigger than that. Odd.
Nah,
I don't know.
I think Antonio Brown's actually taller than him.
Yeah, I think AB
by an inch.
Yeah, I think he was 5'11". That's crazy.
Yeah, but
okay.
And then, man, these Broncos, shit's getting kind of weird in Denver.
It is,
I'm not
dude.
gonna lie.
I told you I'm believing in them.
Yeah. Nick's doing it without a run game.
This week's gonna be
shout
tough.
out.
I want to believe in the Broncos, and I want to continue to. But this week is, I don't know if it's the week to believe in them.
They're playing against a decent team.
Yeah, they beat the Bucks and the Jets, which isn't a great team to beat. Raiders beat them. Saints, Panthers. It's not like an outstanding
wins or
track
wins.
record. They are wins.
Yeah.
They also lost to the Chargers and the Seahawks and the Steelers, where they're 3 losses, which Steelers not that bad of a loss. Seahawks, fine, whatever. And it was a rookie quarterback's debut versus the Seahawks, so give him a little slack there. Chargers loss, not great, personally. But
Yeah,
I
if you're Denver, you're gonna need the run game and your defense to keep playing the way that they've been playing. But then again, it's the Ravens, so
yeah, that's the problem. I'm gonna have to go with the Ravens. I don't even know if the Ravens will necessarily cover 9.5. It's a steep hill. They probably will though. Shit. I'm gonna go Ravens. Ravens 28, Broncos 17.
I'm gonna match you on that. I like
Okay.
that score.
All
Yeah.
right. 4 o'clock games. We've got 5 of them. No, 4 of them. Four. Nope. Yeah, 4. 4 of them. Jags, Eagles. Eagles 7.5 point
Ugh.
favorites at homes. lot of games that seem like they should be blowouts. I don't know. After last week, I couldn't tell you what's gonna happen. The Eagles are unbelievable. Saquon Barkley is an animal. Jalen Hurts had a hell of a day last week. Just they're figuring things out with guys coming back healthy. That's the big thing.
Yeah, and I know that I said earlier when we talked about the Bengals that I thought the Eagles would be a beatable team. I think after the Bengals win, they're 3 wins in a row right now. I think you're exactly right. Is they're getting back on the track.
Yeah, and the Jags
And they
suck.
look pretty good. Yeah,
Jags are bad.
Jags are terrible, man.
Christian Kirk's
Tank
out for the
Bigsby though.
rest of the year, I think.
Yeah, big shout out Tank Bigsby.
Tank Bigsby's an animal, but
Yeah,
not loving what the Jags have, and they're not gonna win maybe any games until 2 weeks after their bye week. Um,
yeah.
what are we
And the
thinking here?
Jags and the Jags and Titans are in the same damn division too. I don't
Yeah,
really think that's clicked
and the
with me.
Colts. Colts aren't very good
And the
either,
Colts. Yeah.
and the Texans
Oh
are
man.
underperforming.
Yeah.
We struck out on that one. We struck out on the AFC South, I think.
Big time. Very big time. Yeah, I mean, I think maybe the Jags could do good to put up points against this Eagles defense, but
Could
that's
be.
kind of unlikely. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's definitely going to be a Philadelphia win, is what I'm trying to get to, in the most roundabout way possible.
I'll go ahead
So
and give my
yeah.
score. I've got the Eagles winning 31-21.
Okay, yeah. So you took the Jags with some points on the
Yeah.
board as well. I think again I'm going to match you on that.
Okay.
I do like that score again. Yeah,
Thank you.
of course. Yeah.
Next game, Bears Cardinals. Cardinals a 1.5 point favorite at home against the Bears. This one kind of piques my interest. These are teams that
Me too.
I'm interested in seeing go up against each other. Should the Cardinals really be favorites? I don't know. That Bears defense is lethal. They held the Commanders to what did they end up scoring? I guess 20 or 21 points. 20?
15.
Well, they had 15 and then they scored 6, which would be 21.
Well, the final score was 18-15.
Oh, it was 18-15. I thought it was 18-15 when
Uh,
the thing happened.
no.
Final score was 18-15.
Yeah, final.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a
it's pretty
pretty
good.
good day defensively outside of the final play of the game. Tyreek Stevenson, you're an idiot.
And that's a player I like too.
I do too.
Um,
That was you got to be an idiot to do that shit.
I know.
So dumb.
So bad. So bad.
Cardinals are just a weird ass team to me. Not a shred of consistency on either side of the ball from them.
No, and I think the only reason you get past the Dolphins is because Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr. just went nuclear,
Yeah.
which is a word that you've given me that I like to use
I love
now. And when are Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr. going to do that again?
And what's even crazier, Call of Duty came out last Thursday, and Kyler balled the fuck out. He balled out. I think he's waiting for the bye week.
Moves high.
He's waiting for the bye week.
Yeah.
He'll be triple prestiged by the bye week.
Yeah, surrounded in Mountain Dew cans and Doritos.
Oh yeah, dude. He's gonna come back. I don't know who they play after the bye week. He's gonna look so fat.
Yeah.
He will not run the
Imagine.
ball like more than 5 times in that game.
But dude, jokes aside, Kyler healthy is so much fun. I forgot how fun it was.
Yeah, yeah. We tend to shit on Kyler. I think I still shit on Kyler from the Cliff Kingsbury days. And I think that was a lot more to do with Cliff Kingsbury, outside of the fact he's
Yeah.
running a hell of an offense in Washington.
Oh
I'll
yeah.
give him that credit. But
Yeah.
Kyler under Cliff Kingsbury was a little bit different, outside of the first year of that, where they had that crazy playoff run, or they got to the
Yeah.
playoffs at least. What do we think about the Bears' offense right now? Caleb Williams is atrocious
Oh.
at times.
Yeah, he's coming off of a really bad game against the Commanders.
And it wasn't even like a normal bad game. Like, it wasn't like, some quarterbacks have a bad game. Caleb Williams was straight up like throwing behind guys and like chucking the ball over their head and not knowing what to do while in the pocket. Like, he looked like you just plucked some kid out of college football and put him in an NFL game.
And against the Commanders' defense is not really that good of a sign. You're going to come up against better ones. You probably have played better ones. But is the Cardinals' offense consistent enough to where if the Bears have defensively a similar showing like they did against the Commanders, can Caleb Williams have a game like that and the Bears still beat the Cardinals?
Exactly. That's where I'm so interested in this game. Because I could very well see Caleb Williams having another bad game. Maybe not as bad as last week, but a bad game. And he's done it before, and they've won. And they continue to win games. I know last week they didn't, of some interesting circumstances, but the Bears could win games even if Caleb Williams doesn't play well. I just don't know if this is the team that you can pull that off against.
100%.
Because I don't know what Cardinals we're going to see. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll never know, Grayson.
The only sure thing is that James Conner is going to fight for yards. That's all I know about the Cardinals.
Yeah. The good thing for the Bears is that DeAndre Swift is unlocked, finally. And even though it's kind of like always one long run and then just kind of like a decent game, it's still, really contributed and helped out when Caleb has bad games like he did last week. But, like, I don't understand how against the Commanders defense, your wide receivers went Rome Odunze, 3 receptions for 41 yards. Keenan Allen, 2 receptions for 39 yards. DJ Moore, 2 receptions for 27 yards. Did you hear the names that I just said? Like, and maybe I'm just being an ignorant football fan, but like, what quarterback couldn't get those guys the ball
exactly
more?
And like I said, it wasn't just like his guys were getting locked up and he had no option. It was like DJ Moore is running across the middle of the field and you threw it 4 yards behind him.
Emmanuel Forbes is not locking up any of the 3 guys I just mentioned.
Emmanuel Forbes isn't locking his car.
He couldn't cover anybody if he was a blanket.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I would love to spend the rest of my life on Forbes Island.
Free. Wide open spaces.
Wide open. I can do whatever I want on Forbes Island.
Yeah.
Within reason. I don't want anybody thinking I'm doing weird things on islands. Let's get that out of there right now.
Oh man, but all of this to say,
let's roll here.
Yeah, all of this to say that this is going to be a pretty good game. Underratedly,
I think so.
Bears 20. Oh, this is so hard to predict, dude. Bears 20, Cardinals 17.
All right, I'm gonna have the Bears losing in heartbreaking fashion again. Not necessarily on a Hail Mary, but I'm gonna go 21-20 game-winning touchdown for the Cardinals.
Yeah, are we? Oh, game-winning touchdown. We're not thinking like James Conner gets like a crazy first down, then they just get to kneel the ball.
No, I'm thinking a game-winning touchdown on like a late drive, and then Caleb can't march them back down the field to score or get into field goal range.
Gotcha.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
All right, next game, and I you might have noticed I checked my phone a couple minutes ago. Perfectly timed for me to decide to check my phone. I got an update about the quarterback in this game that I wanted to talk about. Lions -3 versus the Packers. Huge matchup. Jordan Love, very, very, very optimistic he will be starting this weekend. That's the report.
Ooh.
So if Jordan Love's going, you got to hope that you have the best version of him. Look, okay,
yeah.
Jordan Love at like 85%, much better than Malik Willis at 100%. But you need Jordan Love at 100% and everybody else at 100% if you want to beat the Lions with the type of run they're on right now. Jared Goff didn't even have to try. He doesn't have to try right now. And they are kicking ass. Jahmyr Gibbs
Yeah.
is having his way. David Montgomery
Yep.
doesn't even need to be there
No.
at all.
No.
Shout
No.
out
This is
Sonic and Knuckles. I love those nicknames for them. Sonic and Knuckles.
yeah.
It's great.
This is that actually what they called him?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
pretty cool. Yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs. It's definitely the best we've ever seen him in the NFL so far, which is
For
fun.
sure. He is
Really fun.
eating.
And yeah, it's crazy because this matchup, it doesn't have Aaron Rodgers in it anymore. And it's just crazy that now it's like still a good matchup without Aaron Rodgers. Like it's probably even better than when Aaron Rodgers was there, his last like few years of his career, in my opinion.
Yeah. Sorry, I just got an update on Lamar Jackson's status as well. He didn't practice today.
That's not good.
Yeah, so yesterday he didn't practice. They called it rest. Today he didn't practice. They haven't said anything. So I don't know what's going on
He'll
with
play.
Lamar. Hopefully he'll be
I
starting.
bet he plays.
I don't know. We'll see.
Um,
Continue. Sorry.
but yeah, it doesn't help that Josh Jacobs is, having a really damn good
He
year
is.
too,
Yeah.
as well for the Lions, keeping that offense off the field. But the Lions, like we saw against the Titans, have capitalized on field position, like you said, and they're gonna have maybe some opportunities if Jordan Love plays.
Exactly.
With the amount of interceptions that he throws.
He loves throwing interceptions. And as a fantasy owner, it pisses me off, but he loves throwing interceptions. And I can't help but shake the way that the Lions have been playing. It is hard to not go with them when they are hot because Dan Campbell might be one of the best coaches in the NFL when he's got good momentum. He is so good at capitalizing on emotion and momentum with this team. And this just feels like the spot where they go into Lambeau and they just continue to make statements.
Yeah, and something I think also to keep in mind as well is the Packers did give up 27 to Jacksonville.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is not a good game to have
not
coming into
good
this week.
at all.
No, it was not. I'm probably ready to give a score prediction if you are.
Yeah, let's do it.
Lions 28, Packers 27.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, I'm so high on the Lions right now. Lions 28, Packers 20. I don't know if Jordan Love's going to be 100%. That's my biggest pullback right now. All right, next game, Rams, 1.5-point favorites versus the Seahawks in Seattle.
Ooh,
interesting to see these two teams at this point in the season like this. Seahawks, almost any other year, you're going to Lumen Field, they're probably going to be a favorite. But
yeah,
I can't figure them out whatsoever. They put the fucking beats on the Falcons, and all of a sudden they suck again. I don't get it.
One thing hadn't changed. You don't like Geno Smith.
Nope. That's for sure.
Listen, I'm pumped up because I love this Rams team so much. And I had a feeling, when they played Thursday night against the Vikings, I had a feeling that it was going to get weird. Or was it Monday night? Was it a Monday night or Thursday night? Yeah. They had all their guys back, and Puka just decided to just be healthy.
Yeah.
I did not think that game was going to look like that for him because, leading up to it, we were, kind of thinking that his snaps might be limited. We didn't know what the hell was going to go on. And Puka looked amazing. And then, of course, they are going into Lumen Field to face Seattle, but Seattle's just so inconsistent. And I feel like with what the Rams have, especially with a good run game and Kyron Williams, they can be more consistent than Seattle can be.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I definitely agree. I think the Rams offense, it was the best we saw Matthew Stafford, and I'm just glad he got his weapons back.
Yep.
Puka is going to be significantly more healthy. Obviously, he was ready to go. It was pretty clear he was ready to go for that game. But they got extra rest. They're on a long week, playing Thursday night last week. Then they play a midday game here. I guess it's still going to end up being relatively normal time of the day because it's a 4 o'clock or 4:25 start, but in Seattle. But the Rams get the chance to take some extended rest off that Thursday night football game and come in and play a Seahawks team that has just been so inconsistent week by week. I do think DK Metcalf will be back, which is who they were missing last week.
Yep.
But the Rams offense is rolling right now. Kyron Williams isn't slowing down. That's one thing you can count on.
Mm-hmm.
But the Seahawks, is Kenneth Walker the guy? Is he not the guy? Is Zach Charbonnet good? Is he horrible? Like, I can't figure anything out in the running game for them.
I kind of silly, but like kind of wouldn't mind them just taking, if they have like a chance in the first round of this draft, just take a stud running back and get rid of the other two guys.
Really?
Maybe.
I
Yeah,
don't think you
mean,
can give up on Kenneth Walker just yet.
No, and I don't think you can give up on Zach Charbonnet either. I mean, Kenny McIntosh is there. His autograph's in my living room.
Oh,
so
that is very cool.
Yeah.
I think if there's a guy in the third round, maybe. The problem is that both of these guys are still in rookie deals.
Yeah.
That's
true.
the big thing is you don't want to give up on these guys while you're still not paying shit for them.
Yeah, draft the third guy and let them just like fight like gladiators and see,
That's fair.
whoever just comes out on top. Yeah, I have a score prediction in mind for this game. I think I know how it's gonna go. Rams 34, Seahawks 31.
Whoa.
Classic Rams Seattle game.
That is fair. I'll go
Yeah.
relatively high scoring as well. Not nearly as high. I do think it'd be very close. I'm gonna go Rams 28, Seahawks 27.
Okay.
All right. Sunday Night Football. Horrible Sunday Night Football game. Colts Vikings. Vikings 5-point favorites. God, this game sucks. Flacco is the starter for the foreseeable future. It is not a health thing. This is a performance thing. Anthony Richardson is benched because of his performances.
And his
it's well deserved.
mental
I can
confidently
say that part. It is very much his fault.
Not a mentally strong person, is he? Really?
Doesn't seem like
he really displayed that against the Texans, unfortunately. And that's
crazy.
They drafted a young quarterback. I mean,
tapping out's crazy though. You can't tap out.
No, you can never tap out. But that's the thing.
You gotta go into that press game or that post game press conference and lie. Don't go out there and say, "Oh, I was out of breath." Come on, man. Be like, "Oh, I was cramping." Just lie. I'm pretty sure that's what who's the linebacker for that team? Very good linebacker. Zaire Franklin. He said, like, I think he was on a podcast, maybe it's his podcast. He was like, "You gotta lie." He literally said that. He said, "You have to lie."
Wow.
Because it makes you look so fucking bad. It's bad enough he tapped out. It's bad enough he tapped out on that drive. To go into the press conference and double down on it is crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's how you lose your job. That's
not
just,
PR
that's how
trained.
it goes, dude. That's how you lose your job.
Yeah.
And he deserved it. He did. No ifs, ands, or buts. Anthony Richardson deserved to get benched. Joe Flacco's playing just fine without him. Like, Josh Downs, I'm sure, is going to have a great week this week.
Yeah, and what's going to happen is Joe Flacco will capitalize on a slipping Vikings team, especially if Jonathan Taylor has a good run game.
That's true.
That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I think with the Vikings, they're not bad at all.
No, they didn't even look bad against the Rams, even though they gave up 30. I didn't think they looked bad.
No,
necessarily.
They're just in a weird spot right now where I think the hype and the love caught up to them.
Yeah.
I think we have to remind ourselves that, like, Kevin O'Connell was a coach on the hot seat while Kirk was still there. And we keep giving him shots, and he starts to look good sometimes, and sometimes he looks really bad. And I think that was that Rams game. That Rams game was the really bad Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah, and what happened to Jordan Addison? Don't let him.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of funny. USC guys, Juju Smith-Schuster and Jordan Addison. What happened to Juju after his rookie year?
That's fair.
I don't even remember.
And Jordan Addison still has a chance to be good. You just got to get him incorporated back into this offense. I think that's where the Vikings are missing out. Like, they're not even really targeting him.
Not at all.
And I get it. Justin Jefferson
No.
is his teammate. It's hard to throw the ball to him. But after 2 straight losses, there are things to figure out here. You played the Lions super close, but you lost.
Yep.
You didn't play the Rams necessarily as close as you probably wanted to. Yes, they got robbed at the end of the game, whatever. We've already had that conversation.
I
But
forgot that even happened.
yeah, that was brutal.
That was brutal.
But that it's not an excuse. You shouldn't have been in that position in the first place against a Rams team that, yeah, maybe there wasn't high expectations, but they were getting healthy. Still not a team you should have been in that conversation with. So either Kevin O'Connell and Sam Darnold, who not necessarily looked bad, but Sam Darnold as a leader on this team, him and Kevin O'Connell need to get this locker room back in order because the defense is where they've had their most issues. And I know we talked about it all offseason that this defense did take a step back, but Dallas Turner's been awesome, and Jonathan Grenard's been awesome, and
Ivan Pace,
Stephon
baby.
Gilmore looks pretty good. Ivan Pace has been great.
Yep.
Why aren't they playing well? Harrison Smith's even looked good. Why aren't they playing well right now? That's what I need to figure out, and I think it comes down to coaching.
Yeah. I agree.
Let's hit a score prediction on this game. I don't think there's too many other loose ends to tie here.
No, Colts 26, Vikings 20.
Whoa. Flacco.
Yeah. It's going to happen.
I can't. No, I can't. I
Dude,
can't do it.
Jonathan Taylor with a Flacco performance.
I get it.
It is going to be good enough.
But Aaron Jones is amazing. And Justin Jefferson is amazing. And Sam Darnold, despite these 2 losses, has looked really good in both of those games. I can't give up on it, especially because this is such a step down on the defensive side, too. I'm going to go Vikings. Let's go Vikings 24, Colts 20. I still think it'll be close. Just I can't quite pick the Colts just yet. Monday Night Football, Buccaneers versus Chiefs. Chiefs 8.5-point favorites. Buccaneers are just banged up, man. It's unfortunate.
Man, this would have been so good 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, they tried to get me. They tried to get me last week. That Hail Mary was a little too close for comfort. But yeah. Buccaneers are kind of sad to watch. Not that guys are bad. Like, Baker still looked damn good, other than the picks. And Cade Otton is a fucking monster. Now, I think part of that was National Tight Ends Day, but still, absolute monster. Bucky Irving, dog, ran all over the Falcons.
And got in the receiving game as well, which we haven't seen much from him.
Yeah, outside of, the last 2 weeks. The last 2 weeks, he's been doing good in the receiving game.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I didn't expect it to be this close for Atlanta. Obviously the glaring reason being Mike Evans and Chris Godwin not playing.
Yeah.
But the Buccaneers, going back to Bucky Irving, and I want to throw in Rachaad White in there as well. We've been talking about this dual running back system pretty much ever since like Zeke and Tony Pollard, were together with the Cowboys. And the Buccaneers have kind of evolved it, I think, a little bit even more. And I know we're just going off of 2 weeks here, but when have we seen 2 receiving running backs?
Yeah, well, that's the thing is Bucky Irving, prior to these last 2 weeks, never really got incorporated in the receiving game at all. It was always Rachaad White on passing downs. And they've kind of just let Bucky Irving go after it. And I think when there's so few options, look,
it's been really helpful.
Baker's not going to throw the ball to Sterling Shepard 7 times.
Yeah.
That's just not going to happen. And the same goes for Jalen McMillan, who I guess is the wide receiver 1. They're not going to throw him the ball. Yeah, Cade Otton will probably get 10 or 15 targets every game. But you're not going to target not as good of wide receivers when you have guys that are capable of carrying the load. And that's what Bucky Irving and Rachaad White give this offense.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And I think I want to take it even further by saying I think Todd Bowles is an underrated head coach in this league.
Kind of.
I've really enjoyed, what he's put on the field.
Who is their offensive coordinator this year? Because it was Dave Canales. He's now head coach in Carolina.
I actually don't remember.
Because I would like to give him the credit. I'm not a big Todd Bowles guy. Probably a little biased there, but um, I don't think he does much extraordinary work. Liam Cohen is the offensive coordinator. He was the offense coordinator at Kentucky. Interestingly enough, in
Hmm.
2021 and 2023, and in 2021 or 2022 was with the Rams. Um, so definitely a qualified guy. Um, but yeah, shout out to Liam Cohen because I think he's really done a good job, especially last week. I know they lost, but given the circumstances, to still be able to put up that many points and stay in that game to the end was impressive for that depleted offense.
Yeah.
The Chiefs are
y-
they just win. They just win, dude. And like D Hop was there. He didn't do anything, but he was there. And that changed everything. Travis Kelsey became Travis Kelsey again. All because D Hop's there. And he didn't even do anything. It's crazy.
Yeah. I hate to say it, but I'm glad that D Hop is on a team like this.
I agree.
I really am.
I'd like to see him have a good
Um,
week. That'd be cool. I'm not even
that
going to
would be
start him in
awesome.
fantasy, but I'd still like to see him have a good week.
Yeah. Man, I really do think with how close the Chiefs have played people, I would probably be taking the Buccaneers if Mike Evans and Chris Godwin were healthy.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh, I
not
would too.
kidding. Um, but man, that deflates it. And I will say I've loved the Buccaneers for really ever since Tom Brady retired. They've just been such a fun team to watch how, and we've kind of covered it on the
Yeah.
podcast, just watching them figure it out with Baker. It's been really fun to see this team, do that. But I'm going to take the Chiefs. 24-20
Okay.
Chiefs.
I'm also going to take the Chiefs. I feel like I have to mention the fact that Patrick Mahomes has just not been good. He hasn't. He's
Yeah.
16th in passing yards right now in the league. He's tied 16th in touchdowns. He's thrown a number of interceptions already this year. He's just not looked good. But the Chiefs are still going to find a way to win. I'm going to take the Chiefs 20, Buccaneers 10.
It's all Kareem Hunt, baby.
Yeah, dude.
That's,
Shout out Kareem.
shout out Kareem. Well, maybe not.
But yeah, unless he's in a hotel lobby.
Yeah.
Got two teams on bye. Your Steelers, as well as the 49ers on bye this week.
Yeah.
Man,
how about the Steelers? How about the fucking Steelers?
How about the Steelers? How about Russie?
I think we're a contender.
For a Super Bowl?
Yes.
All right. You keep thinking that. I'm going to move on to the Premier League.
We'll be there, bro.
Okay.
Not in the Super Bowl, but we're a contender
Okay.
for sure this season.
You guys are definitely making the playoffs. I'll give you that. We'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah.
All right. It's weird. I don't typically go from football to soccer. It's an odd transition. I haven't had to do this in weeks. So it does mean I get to say it. Let's talk about a different type of football.
Oh, here we go, baby. Yes.
Premier League weekend. Starting off, Liverpool versus Brighton. Big matchup up at the top of the table. Brighton needs to look better, I think is probably how I would say it right now. They haven't necessarily looked bad. They just could and need to look better.
Are you sure it's Liverpool Brighton? Because they just played each other in the EFL Cup. I just feel like that'd be kind of weird.
Pretty sure it is. Yeah, November 2nd, Liverpool Brighton, 11 a.m.
Yeah, well, yesterday, which would be
very funny.
Wednesday. They just played them in the EFL Cup and they won 2-3. Liverpool did. So
interesting.
Not what I expect this time, except probably worse for Brighton.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, Liverpool and surprisingly Barcelona, I would say, are the two best teams in the world right now.
Yeah, and they both have brand new managers.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, both have brand new managers as well.
Absolutely insane what they've been capable of. Like, dude, in this EFL Cup match, no Mohamed Salah. Cody Gakpo scored a brace. What the fuck?
Shout out.
Curtis Jones was the left striker and Szoboszlai was the right striker. They were fucking around and won 3-2.
Who is Tyler Morton?
Fantastic question.
Yeah.
He looks like Daniel Jones.
They brought Rotaru Endo out of the cave that they left him in.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was like the first time I've said his name this year.
There hasn't been much of a reason to. Yeah, look,
Yeah.
I kind of agree with your sentiment here. I do think this probably goes pretty similar. Um,
Yeah.
this time it's God, I don't know. This is just so weird for Brighton because I'd love to say that they can contend in this match, but Liverpool scores a
Hmm.
lot of goals. They keep clean sheets. They just do everything right. I don't get it.
And
Like it's unreal.
Brighton can sometimes do one of those things.
Yeah, they can sometimes score goals. Uh,
Yeah.
Also, Allison's still hurt. Hasn't mattered at all.
No.
It's crazy. Um, so yeah, I have to go with Liverpool. I'm gonna take them 2-1. Just take one goal away from each of them from
I'm
their
gonna take
matchup yesterday.
I'm gonna take Liverpool 3-1. I'm gonna keep Liverpool at three.
Okay.
3 goals.
Um, our next match, Nottingham Forest versus West Ham. And the reason I picked this game is that I think both of them are kind of in interesting positions. Obviously West Ham underperforming. They are coming off of the win against Manchester United last week, which was
That was a funny ass win.
yeah, a little questionable.
Yeah.
But Nottingham
Uh-huh.
Forest, 7th in the table on 16 points. Um, they look damn good. I gotta give them their credit, and they've won their last two. Obviously, bad opponents, but teams that they should be beating, and they did. They beat Crystal Palace 1-0, and then they beat Leicester 3-1. Nottingham Forest is finding ways to win against the teams that they should, and they're probably, for the most, other than beating Liverpool, it's kind of insane. But like
Yeah.
outside of that, like they're beating the teams they should. They're drawing the teams that are pretty evenly matched with, and they're losing to some of the teams that are better than them. Fulham, interesting. But whatever. That was their one
Yeah.
loss was Fulham. But Fulham has also been a pretty good team this year. Nottingham Forest is just finding ways to get points by any means necessary, and West Ham just isn't. That's kind of the way I'm putting it for them. Yeah, they found a way to get points against Manchester United by just robbing them in broad daylight. Um,
Yeah.
and then, they beat Ipswich. That's 2 of their 3 wins this season. And what's the deal with West Ham? They've had like flawless transfer windows the last 2
Mhm.
summers, but nothing to show for it yet.
Yeah, I think with me it's just that they have somehow lost the ability to use all that talent that they're bringing in.
Yeah.
And it's super bizarre because I don't know where it lies. I think Aaron Wan-Bissaka has been great for West Ham.
Mhm.
He was a new addition that's actually playing well. Fulkrug though has been a total non-factor. He's hurt right now,
Yeah.
which really sucks. But even when he was playing, I felt like he kind of just wasn't really adding much. And just like that, Mikel Antonio is back in the team.
Yeah, Nicholas
It
Fulkrug,
didn't take long.
he played in 3 Premier League matches this season and
Yeah.
has barely played over 90 minutes. And no, not even. He's played about a half of soccer, minutes wise.
Yeah, that's
And then he
in
got hurt.
3 games, it's not that great.
Yeah.
Especially for a guy that you and I could probably both agree on should have been starting.
Oh, for sure.
Carlos Soler, another guy that you brought in, and I would say a pretty big player for a team like West Ham to
Yeah.
have. Just hadn't really added much, but I think kind of looking at their team, the glaring reason could be Paqueta is just kind of a non-factor this season.
Pretty bad.
He really should have left when he had the chance because now he's on West Ham and he isn't even playing that well.
Yeah. He's probably
So-
betting against himself if I had to guess.
Yeah, probably. It's just, yeah, West Ham have not looked great, and then Nottingham Forest, kind of like with what you said, beating Liverpool, insane, tying against Chelsea, who were flying at the
Yeah.
time, 10 men down, insane. And in between games, they've played teams either pretty hard or they've just beat them.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I'm kind of feeling Nottingham Forest here
Me too.
against West Ham.
And I think West
Yeah.
Ham's glaring problem is that they can't really score goals, at least at a consistent rate. They're scoring a decent amount. They've scored 13 goals. It's just they're all over the place with it. I do think they'll score here, but I'm going to go Nottingham Forest 2-1.
Yeah, I like that. I'm going to take Nottingham Forest 2-0.
Yeah, Nottingham Forest not really scoring a lot of goals actually. So I'm actually going to amend my pick here. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. Nottingham
1
Forest
draw.
only
Okay.
scored 11 goals this season. Like
All
they've
right.
got teams behind them that have scored 18.
Damn.
All right, well, let's get to one of those teams behind them that scored 18 goals. Tottenham Hotspur versus Aston Villa. Tottenham Hotspur is
Oh,
obviously the team I'm mentioning that has scored 18. Aston Villa scored 16. Um, Tottenham, when they win, and when they lose, ooh,
it's
bad.
always just the end of the world.
Like this last one, 1-0 to Crystal Palace, not where you'd like to be right now. Crystal Palace getting that win got them out of the relegation zone.
Yeah.
That's not
Big
where
move.
Tottenham should be losing to. Like that is horrible. They can't find consistency. That's the biggest thing for Tottenham. Also, they haven't drawn once. That's a problem.
Yeah, it makes sense. You know, they're either going all out or just getting destroyed.
Yeah. Sorry,
I feel like
they've drawn once. Sorry, that was my bad. One draw.
Yeah, 1 draw. Got it.
Them and
Yeah,
Brentford
I mean,
have been lockstep all year.
I guess like it would probably just be simple to kind of lean towards Aston Villa, who have they've been a hell of a lot more consistent than Tottenham.
Yeah, but also
Yes.
Aston Villa coming off a 1-1 draw with Bournemouth.
Yeah. And to that point, it might be fair to say, Grayson, that I think the best that Tottenham can be is probably better than the best that Aston Villa can be. I would still say that even in 2024. I think Tottenham on their day
Maybe.
can outplay Aston Villa's best day.
Maybe, but the likelihood of seeing Tottenham on their best and Aston Villa on their best is a big difference. Because we've seen Aston Villa, even when they're not playing their best, Aston Villa beat Bayern Munich in the Champions League. It's just
that's my favorite thing to tell people.
Bayern Munich was their worst, for sure. But Aston Villa was not their best, and they still won that game. I have a hard time picking against Aston Villa in most of their matchups because they've only lost one game.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing for me with Aston Villa. They've lost one game, and it was to Arsenal, who was ahead of them in the table. So they arguably should have lost.
Yeah.
I got to go with Villa.
I'm sorry.
Because of consistency.
Go ahead.
That's the biggest thing. Go ahead.
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
I was going to say, kind of comparing Aston Villa to when Newcastle, birthed their Champions League debut. And this is unfortunate to you, but Aston Villa have really shown a lot more depth and resilience. And I feel like that's actually, it's pretty surprising for a kind of a newer team to enter the Champions League, being, kind of a big deal as well, being a Premier League team in Aston Villa. It's impressive to see what they're able to do this season, beating Bayern Munich, beating Bologna, and then still being able to retain pretty comfortable margins in the Premier League as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think the biggest thing, I like that you draw those comparisons between Aston Villa and Newcastle and the differences that we've seen. Because I talked about it. Newcastle didn't have depth last year. It was pretty obvious. We were also banged up, but the depth obviously hurt us the most because of it. Aston Villa has depth. They have youth that they go out and find. They've made good signings. They've replaced guys that left. And they've got a manager that's managed at the highest level. Unai Emery is a fantastic manager. And I think that is a huge advantage that they have over a team like Newcastle that, also kind of snuck their way into a Champions League berth, is that Newcastle, and I'm still going with it, I don't think Eddie Howe's the guy going forward. And Unai Emery is. Unai Emery is the guy for Aston Villa right now. And it's going to stay that way because he keeps winning. That's just how it goes.
Yeah. I feel like it kind of a strange career path for Unai Emery, because I remember it was such a huge deal when he took over Arsenal.
Yeah.
But his time at Arsenal was so bad that he completely fell under the radar as a very good manager.
Oh, yeah.
And, he spent some time in Villarreal, which I can barely even remember. He was there from COVID to 2022.
Yeah.
And then
good.
he takes over Aston Villa, and it like you just completely forget about that time that he had with Arsenal. And I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of people kind of like put him in an unfair boat because of whenever he took over Arsenal. But
Yeah.
he's still a insane football mind, and he deserves to be considered up there with some of the best.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I'm going to take Aston Villa 2-0. I think we're going to see one of those
Um,
Spurs off days.
I'm gonna go 1-1 draw.
Okay. Fair
Yeah,
enough.
Tottenham are gonna tie somehow.
All right, rest of the fixtures for the weekend. You have got Newcastle Arsenal, which I was close to talking about, but it's not even worth it. Bournemouth Man City, Ipswich Leicester, Liverpool Brighton, Nottingham Forest West Ham, Southampton versus Everton, Wolves versus Crystal Palace. Sunday, you got Spurs Villa and Manchester United versus Chelsea. Good luck. Ruud van Nistelrooy
Uh,
knows how to score goals, man.
yeah, he was it yeah, it was Leicester that they played. They look
Yeah.
good.
I think they won like 4-0 or something. Um,
Yeah,
and then Monday, we have a match Fulham versus Brentford. All
yeah.
right. It's time for some Champions League. I got to say, loving the schedule. I like that we don't have to like talk about last week's matches and then talk about next week's matches all in the same week.
Yeah,
We kind of get to, everything sinks in, it gets by, whatever, and then we get to preview the next one. It's very nice the way
it
it's
is
working.
nice.
Um,
Yeah,
So let's do just that. Let's preview match day 4 in the Champions League. We actually have a lot of matchups that I think could be really good, especially with the parity we've seen in the Champions League already this year. Probably further than just the list that I have of games that I think could be good. Will probably be good. So we'll start off a couple arguably weak ones. PSV versus Girona. Girona hasn't necessarily been bad. They're just maybe not quite up to the expectations that they set for themselves after last year. We've also got Bratislava versus Dinamo. So that one will be maybe those teams are both
well,
bad enough that they play each other well. Real Madrid
yeah,
versus Milan could be interesting because Real
yeah.
Madrid
It
has
could.
been bad, to say the least.
And Milan could be finding their form.
Yeah, like think about it. Real Madrid coming off of, yes, the crazy ass comeback that they had against Dortmund was unreal, but a bad first half in that game is relatively showing off.
Yeah,
They're going through all this fucking controversy with Ballon d'Or. We didn't even talk about that at all.
no,
that whole
yeah, we did
issue.
not.
But yeah, long story short, I guess somehow Real Madrid found out that Vinny was not going to be winning Ballon d'Or and that it was going to be going to Rodri. They think that Vinny got so robbed that they don't want another Real Madrid player to be considered for the award ever. And then they canceled all of their flights, and no Real Madrid players were supposed to go, except I'm pretty sure, was Carlo Ancelotti there to accept the Manager of the Year award that he won?
I actually don't know. I don't know.
Okay, because
I do
I
not
know he
know.
won that. I don't know how everything sorted out, but yeah, that was a absolute mess. You also lost El Clasico, what, 4-0?
Yeah,
Like,
got dotted.
God,
They got
God.
dotted up.
And
Yeah,
Milan is just Milan. I think Christian Pulisic has been so much fun to watch. AC Milan. Obviously,
yeah,
I'm just seeing the highlights, but it seems like from what I'm hearing, he's putting up damn good numbers, and
yeah.
I'm super happy about that.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. I don't even know what to say about all the Ballon d'Or drama, man.
It's
That
a
was
mess, dude.
yeah, that was a total mess, and I feel like a lot of the messes revolve around shit that Real Madrid does.
Yeah,
More often than not, like the Super League, was obviously an idea from their owner.
yeah.
It's very bizarre. In a way, I almost kind of respect Real Madrid not traveling since they felt Vinny got robbed that hard, and they backed their guy, and I appreciated that.
I think
But
they took it too far.
it's petty, yeah, and they took it too far.
Also, we all
Exactly.
know how it goes in a year where there's a big European or South America, just international competition in general. That gets a huge favorite. That gives you so much favoritism. And if Vinny would have been the figurehead of a Brazil team that took Copa America by storm and kicked ass, he probably would have won after
Not
winning
at
the
all what
Champions
happened
League.
though. Yeah.
But instead, Rodri was literally the engine of a Spain team that was unreal in the Euros.
Yeah.
And he also was on a Man City team that won the league and whatnot. Obviously, they didn't win the Champions League again, but they made a run in the Champions League. Like Rodri was the pick. I had said it I think a week or two ago here that I thought he was the
Yeah.
pick as well, and I thought
Yeah,
Vinny was second.
yeah, I don't remember what I said, but I feel like I probably was leaning towards Rodri as well, but I would have been totally fine if Vinny
Yeah,
for sure.
it's
Yeah.
there's such a huge importance on international success, and Rodri
Yeah.
had way more international success.
I mean, yeah, they're the biggest, tournaments in the sport.
Yeah.
Sure, bigger than the Champions League.
Oh yeah.
So,
Oh yeah.
um,
And Vinny wasn't
yeah,
necessarily the best player on that team all year.
no,
You could give that to
no, I
Bellingham for a decent amount of those appearances.
bro, he had us in the blender when that season started.
God.
We didn't know what the hell to do with ourselves.
Yeah. Meanwhile, everybody
Uh,
stopped talking about Bellingham. All of a sudden, Vinny and Mbappe
yeah,
are the talking points, and that is it.
yeah.
Also, hearing rumors, Rodrigo free to go wherever he'd
Mm.
like. I think I said that last week. Kamavinga could be one on his way
Oh,
out. I think
love
what
that.
I heard was that Kamavinga or Chouameni would be on their way out, one of the two. So
Both
that could be interesting to
players that
watch.
would be desired.
Yeah, definitely. All
Two
right, let's
players that
move
would be
on to
desired.
our
Yeah.
next match, though. Liverpool versus Leverkusen, relatively big one as well. Um,
Yep.
this one, Liverpool has been so good, and Leverkusen's just been fine. I think Leverkusen is kind of they've run into the issue. They aren't a powerhouse, and they got lucky in a year where everything just worked out right, and now they're facing the consequences of everybody else wants your players, and a lot of people are going to get them.
Yeah. I'm kind of leaning towards Leverkusen in this matchup. Javi Alonso gonna coach against Liverpool,
Yeah.
right? And I don't know. Maybe Liverpool has just been too perfect in the Champions League. I think this is a game they lose.
Honestly, they could be
This is a
exhausted.
vibe pick.
They could be
Yeah.
exhausted. We just talked about it. Midweek, high scoring game with Brighton. They play Brighton
Yep.
again on Saturday. Then they come into this game on Tuesday. That's some quick turnarounds.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
we'll
it
see.
is, yeah.
We'll see. Next one, Borussia Dortmund versus Sturm Graz. Sporting Lisbon versus Man City. I believe Ruben Amorim will still be managing this game.
Good.
I believe he was supposed to manage the next 2 or 3 fixtures for Sporting before he's done, so that they have time to get somebody locked in to manage after him. But Man City probably takes care of business here. But it'll give Ruben a chance to look at his future rival.
Yeah.
All right, next game. I do think this one could be good. Lille versus Juventus.
Mm.
Something about both of these teams. Juventus last week didn't look great, but Lille has just continued to look pretty good. And I
Yeah.
think both of these teams at this point, at least in their Champions League campaigns, are in pretty similar positions in my eyes. I feel like both of these teams are just kind of frisky. Like Juventus should maybe be better than they are, and maybe you could argue Lille should be worse than they are. But they're both teams that I like. Like they're actually right next to each other in the table, 14 and 15.
Yeah, it's a big match.
Yeah, this is a huge
It is.
matchup because if somebody here gets 3 points, 3 points puts you at 9 points for one of these teams. That's huge. Right now, the only teams at 9 points are Villa and Liverpool.
Yeah.
And with how many close matchups there are in this week, especially, you can see a lot of big movement up and down the tables. And for a team that loses, there's a lot of teams 3 points right now. If one of those teams 3 points gets a win, all of a sudden, the 3 points and the 4 points and the 5 points guys could be jumping you immediately. So
yeah. No, exactly.
So especially in these early stages of this group stage, this is like the halfway point at the end of this week. We really got to think about, okay, like each of these matches is huge in shifting the table. How is it going to set up for us later on? And I think Lille and Juventus are both in positions where this is a must win for the future of their Champions League campaign.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I couldn't agree more.
I don't know who's going to
Yeah,
win. I haven't watched enough of these
we'll
teams
just
to
have to
make
see what
picks, but
happens.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, they both don't have a draw. Maybe this is their draw.
could be. Could be. Next two
Um,
games on Tuesday, Celtic versus Leipzig and Bologna versus Monaco. On to
ugh.
Wednesday. On to Wednesday, you've got Club Brugge and Aston Villa, which should clearly go the way of Villa. There's no telling. But Club Brugge has been horrendous. Shakhtar versus Young Boys, so nobody will be watching that one. Um, and Bayern Munich versus Benfica. We'll see what happens. Bayern Munich certainly underperforming this year. Benfica's been flying, so we'll see what happens there. PSG versus Atletico Madrid could get interesting. You never really know.
Yep.
Heard a little rumor that Newcastle might be targeting Kolomuani. Not sure how to feel about that just yet.
Ah.
Uh,
I would be excited.
yeah, fuck it, why not?
Despite what we've
I'm
seen.
excited about anything. Anything that
Yeah.
changes with that team, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Inter versus
Yeah.
Arsenal as well. Huge matchup. Inter is
Ooh,
certainly
yeah.
not where they want to be right now. At least, oh, never mind. Sorry, I was thinking of somebody else. But Inter is actually 7th right now. Arsenal 9th. Both these teams at 7 points. It's really just the 2 goal differential that makes a huge gap between these two. And whoever wins this game is going to be in a fantastic spot because there's a lot of teams here up at the top where you might not expect them to win this week. Leverkusen's number 6 right now in the table, and they're taking on Liverpool. If Liverpool wins, Leverkusen kind of could get left behind, and the same goes for Inter or Arsenal. Whoever loses this match could get left behind, and you're
Yeah.
almost definitely out of the top 8 if you lose this match.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Another
Arsenal already
game that
is, but
I don't know how Inter
yeah,
Arsenal is going to go.
yeah, I am in the same boat. The other 4 matchups aren't great. Feyenoord versus Salzburg, Red Star versus Barca, which I could assume Barca will score 9 goals. Sparta Praha versus Brest, and then Stuttgart versus Atalanta. Yeah, I think we've got a big table shifting week in the Champions League ahead of us.
Yeah,
Just
that's
kind of
definitely
seems
what it
that way.
sounds like.
Yeah, got
Yeah.
a lot of big games this week. And then we take, I guess, what? Actually, I think we have an extended break here. Yeah, we don't come back. Well, no, never mind. It's a regular break. It's regular 2 weeks off. Or no, 3 weeks off. Sorry, it is extended.
So we get a whole month.
Yeah, so we'll be back in action for Matchday 5. Tuesday the 26th of November.
Okay, so right around Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
Hmm.
yep.
That'll be
Tuesday
fun.
and Wednesday before Thanksgiving. We got some big matchups in week 5. Just go ahead and say this one: Liverpool, Real Madrid is one of those.
Oh, UCL
Yeah,
rematch.
yeah, we've got some big stuff coming down the line for the Champions League, but Champions League is done, which means it is officially that time.
Uh-oh.
Questions time.
What time is
If
it?
you don't know what time it is questions time. Nathan got us some questions. It's also, like we mentioned at the beginning of this episode, 1 day away as you're listening to this from the 2-year anniversary of Second and Short. Once again, I just want to thank everybody. This has been unbelievable. It's one of my favorite things, if not my favorite thing that I do on a weekly basis, twice a week, really 3 times a week now when I do the college football show now.
Yep.
Couldn't be happier with what we're doing. Obviously, there's more that I'd like to do, and I think I want to, as kind of the front man, the leader of Second and Short. I really just I want to get everybody else more incorporated in it. I think we could really turn this into a hell of an operation. Once I can kind of start getting all hands on deck, and it's not a fault at anybody else. It's more my fault for not wanting to push people to do stuff more. I know Luke has been really committed to trying to help me out, and he's done a fantastic job of it. So once I can start getting some hands on deck, I think we'll see some big stuff. And um, I've been kind of considering. I'll just kind of go ahead and be open and honest about this right now. I've been considering that at the end of this football season, I think we maybe take like a 2 week hiatus and work on some things, maybe establish some ideas going forward for that second half of February. And then once we get
Mhm.
into March, we hit the ground running again. Because then we're getting ready for the draft and we're getting ready for baseball
LB,
and
yeah.
everything that's going on then. So and then of course, we got to be there to wrap up the Premier League season and into the Champions League season as we go into the summer. So um I'm starting to convince myself that that might be a good idea. Maybe work on just updating some things for second and short. Work on some new visuals, some new things to just keep things fresh for everybody. But also
Yeah.
just kind of meet with all the guys that are involved and start talking about maybe some bigger thoughts for the group as a whole. Because I'm having a lot of fun. And look, we're 2 years into this. I've been doing this pretty well on my own, at least behind the scenes. Obviously, I've got you and Brock and Colin and Nathan and Ethan and Mike that have helped me out on camera. But for the behind the scenes stuff, I really want to get the whole crew involved because I think we could do some really cool stuff with some more hands on deck. So this is kind of my
Yeah.
first time voicing this to anybody, but those are just the thoughts I've been having, and I wanted to update everybody because, look, if you're listening right now, you're 2 hours and 5 minutes into this episode, and
Congratulations.
thank you for getting to this point. But you're
Yeah.
also, we're 2 years into this, and I think it's about that time that the people that have been here this whole time, or even have not, or just maybe picked up interest in the last 2 weeks. I don't know. Whoever you are, whatever situation you're in, I just want everybody to know that like this is what Second Short is all about. It's just about having fun. We come on here and we have fun.
Yeah.
Look,
Oh, yeah.
any other podcast, they're not sitting here answering questions. Not 2 hours
No.
in, 2 hours into the podcast, and we're about to read off some questions. We were this close to doing a whole top 10 wide receivers in the NFL list today.
Yeah.
We're not going to do that today. We're going to probably push that to next week. Might even just do it
Yeah.
at some random time. I don't know.
That
But
would be my fault, guys. I
it's not a
apologize.
problem. Not a problem at all. But like we just have fun around here. Like that
Oh, yeah.
that's the best part of it. So we're going to talk.
Especially when we film in person.
Yeah.
I mean, those were always just the
Yeah.
blast, like
Can't
just
wait.
total blast.
Can't wait for the
Yeah.
holiday season to come back around. You get to you could at least be here a couple of times in person for a
Yeah.
couple weeks, and then it's back off to Athens. But nonetheless, got a lot of fun stuff to do. Nathan does have some questions here that kind of have to do with the show, so we'll go ahead and start up with Nathan's questions. What
Okay.
sport has been your favorite to follow and talk about?
Ooh, I actually have a hot take for this one.
Okay.
For me, it's probably been baseball.
Yeah. I think I would have guessed that for you.
Yeah.
I think you've really embraced baseball a lot more as time has gone on.
Yeah, and of course, like I picked the Yankees as my favorite team. Back like I think like after MLB the show, whatever cover had Ryan Howard on it. And
Back
I'd
in the day.
always labeled myself as a Yankees fan. Knew their key players. But it wasn't until the podcast started where I really started picking up on trying to follow baseball, and it's
Yeah.
been so much fun. There's so many numbers and statistics that I am just as stimulated to the best degree. And I truly love baseball for that. And with that being said, I think one of my favorite podcast episodes, and this is a really niche one,
Okay.
but it was when you and I talked about like opening day for the first time, and you gave me
Yeah.
your MLB sports subscription, and that was like all I had on TV that day. And it was so much fun. I think I
Yeah.
had the windows open. That springtime breeze was coming through. That was a good one of my favorite podcast moments.
Yeah. I think my
Yeah.
favorite sport to follow and talk about for me has been the NFL. I was always I've almost always been well, I guess for a stretch, I was NBA first for a little while. Then
Yeah.
so I grew up MLB first. I was NBA first for a little while. Then I kind of got back to MLB first. And the NFL was always second or third. A lot of times it was behind college football. But since this has started, I know the NFL is the thing that most people out there want to hear. And that's why we talk about it on both episodes every week.
Yep.
Because the NFL it's the moneymaker. Let's be honest. But I have gotten into it so much more. Look, I was always following along. I was always watching on Sundays. I was,
Yeah.
playing fantasy football every year, following along storylines, whatnot. But the way that I've gotten into it and the way that I've gotten to like every single Sunday, I sit down, I watch as many games as I can. And I
Yeah.
have for the last, this season and last season. And, the fact that now I can come onto the podcast and like take no notes on some of these teams, and we
Yeah.
could talk for 30 fucking minutes about one of these matchups.
Yeah.
That's what I love about covering the NFL now, is that I've gotten to the point where like, wow, like I'm really there. Because college football was always the thing I preferred, because Florida State was just kind of always better than the Falcons. And it was more entertaining, and it was the love in my household. Florida State
Yeah.
was the number one team in my household. Then it was the Braves. Then it was the Falcons. That was kind of
Yeah.
always the hierarchy in my house. So now, now especially with the Falcons getting better, it makes it even easier to watch. But like last year, I had a ton of fun, probably the most fun I've had watching NFL, and the Falcons were dog shit. So,
Yeah.
I think the NFL has been my favorite to follow and talk about, just because I found like a new appreciation for it doing the podcast.
Yeah. That's a
Um,
good question. Yeah.
I'm gonna ask this one before we go to the next question. What's just your favorite memories from these first 2 years? You've been here just about the entire time. You joined in December. We started on November
Yeah.
2nd. I think you joined. It was episode 9, episode 8 or 9. That's when you
Yeah, episode 8 or
when you
9,
joined
it
the
was
podcast.
right around Christmas time. Because I remember I went home to film my first
Yeah, that's
episode.
right. That's right.
I went back home from Athens. That's a pretty good memory.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, just vibes were high being home from Christmas, and then I
Yeah.
got to talk about sports with Grayson on, in a recording, which was different. And just like you, like in PlayStation parties, we would talk sports for hours,
Yeah.
like after we were done playing, like just sitting in the party and talk. So I also kind of came into it with that same mindset, and you and I, had Taco Mac nights as well,
Yeah.
where that had kind of where we had done something like this. Um, Trying to think of another favorite memory though. I mean, it's hard to beat when we filmed in person. Like
Yeah.
as far as the sports videos, like the soccer and the
Yeah.
baseball video,
Those were
that whole
super
day
fun.
it was so much fun. So much
Yeah.
fun.
I think for
Um
me,
uh,
I have to.
oh,
I
one
obviously.
more.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, when we filmed on the couch at Nathan's apartment. That
That
was
was a
another
fun one.
fun day
Yeah,
cuz we
Spain,
watched
Italy on the TV.
yeah,
Yeah,
love that one.
that
Yeah.
was a fun one. And the couch will be returning, because we have the
Yeah.
couch that we used for the third and long stream last week.
Yeah.
That is at our disposal in this studio. So
Oh, shit, sorry. I have one more. I'm
go
sorry,
ahead.
Grayson. I
No,
know
go
we've
ahead.
been going for a while. The Immaculate Grids with Colin. Those were
That
so
was
much
a that
fun
was a fun
to
rivalry.
record.
That was a fun
Yeah,
rivalry between the two of you.
those were really, really fun, and I think
That
I'm going to
I
cap myself there.
I think those were some of my favorites, and I was just the guy on the computer. That was
Yeah,
that's like one of the what? That's one of two pieces of types of content, I guess, or content projects, I guess. One or two of three videos that I wasn't in. At least my face
yeah,
wasn't in. My voice was in those two, but out of
yeah,
all the content we've put out on Second Short, there's only three videos that I wasn't really a part of, or it wasn't like in. Um, the other one being your Premier League team of the month, which might be making a
yeah.
return next week, in case anybody's wondering. Um,
Dude,
we'll see
while
what
you were
happens.
just
But
talking, I thought of so many more,
okay, well, I've got a couple that I'll hit. I want to
and
point
then
out
hopefully
the very
that hits mine.
the very first episode of Second and Short. Me and Brock just didn't record an intro
Really?
at all. No, we literally. I
I don't even
I
remember
went
that.
back. I went back and listened to the start, because I was like, oh, I wonder how I introed that episode. Like, did we introduce anything? I re-recorded an intro, and I just said, "Welcome to like super quiet. Welcome to Second and Short podcast," or like something to that effect. Like, "Welcome to Second and Short
Yeah,
podcast. It is Wednesday something something something." Um,
yeah,
and then it just like immediately goes into like me being like, "All right, let's talk about the college football playoff rankings," like, or whatever it was. Like
yeah.
it was like just the most random thing ever, and like we went like two and
Yeah.
a half hours.
Wow. Yeah.
So,
It's
to see
crazy.
how far we've gotten is awesome. And like the fact that
Oh yeah,
this is episode 201. I've said welcome back to Second and Short 100 or 200 times now. Saying welcome back
wild.
200 times. It's amazing.
Welcome to think about it.
Yeah. So
Crazy.
just those kind of memories, and obviously this summer was awesome. Just this whole summer was awesome. You and Colin in person here in the new studio at the desk. We kind of from the draft special on, we were just rolling. It was so
Oh, I
much
know.
fun. We were making the side content, the Wednesday content that I wish we could do as often. It's just way too busy of a part of the week for me now, especially with the college football show. To be doing that extra content on the side, but we were definitely just we had so much fun this summer. So obviously the draft
Oh
specials are
yeah.
like the most fun thing we do. Like I was talking with a coworker of mine the other day, and she asked me like if there was one sport you could cover, one event you could cover, like professionally, what would it be? I was like the draft. The NFL draft is just the thing because it blends
Electric.
my favorite things. College football and the NFL are like probably as of right now my top two sports to watch easily,
Yeah.
and blending those together and getting to talk about these guys that I've been watching for 3-4 years and talk about how I think they're going to fit with these guys I've been watching for 10 plus years. Like the
Yeah.
NFL draft is so much fun and the draft special is amazing. Got to shout out Mike every time we bring up the draft special for what he did this year. Last year he was great. Or the year before, I guess, he was great because like he joined
Yeah.
us near the end of the draft special. He hung out with us for a while and really held it down for us late in that draft special when me and you were just exhausted. we were exhausted at the end of the first
Yeah.
draft special, and then the second one he was on all the way through, and I couldn't thank him enough.
He
So
stuck it out with us.
yeah, he did, and that was great. So
Was.
okay, I'm gonna let you go two more. And that's it. Then
Uh,
we're moving on.
Vegas episode.
Vegas episode was
Man, the
awesome.
vibes were
Yeah,
high. Yeah.
vibes were high. We went out. We lost some money responsibly, but we had a great
Responsibly.
time. We might.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this right now. We might be seeing a Myrtle Beach episode, from me, Colin, Nathan, in
Oh,
March.
fun.
In March,
That'll be good.
yeah, we'll see.
Um,
That might be one of those times where that might be where we take the week or two off. I don't know. I haven't decided.
I see how you did that.
We'll see.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it at the Vegas episode.
Okay.
For now that was
All right. Well, this is gonna be fun because the next question, and that's why I wanted to kind of reminisce now. When is the next Second and Short video? Is what he says. I'm more thinking of this like content project. I'd
Mhm.
love to know where your head's at with this. Obviously, for me right now, the foreseeable future is committing to the college football show, and trying to just make as good of a product as possible for the rest of the year. I think for the college football show, I think the culmination of the college football show will be, um, at least for the season, will be a call once all the bowl games are selected, a bowl game pick'em episode where I literally pick a winner in every single bowl game.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not gonna, in-depth analysis of every single game. I don't give a fuck what
Yeah.
happens in the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl, but I'm gonna give a pick for every single one of the games. So I think that'll be fun, and then of course we'll have like the college football playoff special, where I'll go through and do the whole college football playoff. And I can't quite decide if I want to do like its own episode each week for the college football playoff or what, or for each matchup. But we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I'm still gonna have to play it by ear a little bit. But right now, my
Yeah.
my content project is the college football show. It's something I just kind of decided I wanted to do on a whim and have now committed to it. I think we've done 6 of them, 7 of them. So
Yeah.
that's been super fun. What about you? I know you're still locked in on Premier League Player of the Month. It's just run into some difficulties now with scheduling and just the timing of the
Yeah.
episodes. But what are you
Um.
thinking?
Yeah, I've been really enjoying that too. That was fun. When I got to learn and edit with you that
Yeah,
night, and I hope to continue to try to get proficient in using Adobe. Is it what is the software
Premiere.
editing?
Yeah,
Premiere. Yeah. Um, you know, I don't. necessarily know if I have like a big content idea in mind. I mean, like a football video would be fun.
Yeah.
I think like a basketball video would be fun.
I think our only issue right
Um,
now is it has to be weather permitting.
weather
Weather
permitting.
getting
Yeah, and
cold.
we have to find somewhere as
Yeah,
well.
that is
But
tricky.
it can be. I've really, and this is so far ahead, but like when you started talking big content ideas, this was the first thing that came to my head was the World Cup.
Yeah,
We have to go.
I'd love
And
to.
not even we don't have to get tickets.
We could do some
We
man
just
on the
have to be
street.
there.
Yeah, we could do some
Yeah.
stuff. Well,
Because
I think when the
you
World
and I
Cup
had a lot
comes
of
here,
fun.
yeah, we've got a lot. We've got a lot to talk about. That's what I'll leave it at.
Yeah. But when you know, we had a lot of fun doing the man on the street interviews with when Georgia won their
Yeah,
second in a row.
yeah,
That was a hell of a lot of fun.
that was
Shout
extremely
out
fun.
Connor. Shout out
Easily,
Connor, by the
shout
way,
out.
for filming that. Yeah,
Connor is amazing. If you guys don't know what Connor is up to, you got to go follow him on Instagram. I think it's Connor W Fisher.
please,
Um,
please.
He's doing some of the coolest stuff of anybody I've seen. Not even just know, I've seen. He's doing some of the coolest stuff. So definitely shout
Yeah.
out to Connor.
Very aesthetically stimulating Instagram account,
Yes,
and
yes,
he makes a lot of really good content. He's
he
very
does.
creative, very talented.
Hell of a
So,
mindset. So shout out to Connor. Yeah,
yeah.
I think the World Cup is definitely going to be a big opportunity for us. Considering we'll have matches in Atlanta. Um,
Oh
it's going to be
man,
awesome.
dude.
But yeah, I think even just like shorter term stuff, I think the live streams are something that I want to start doing a little bit more. I think, it wasn't necessarily like we had a ton of viewers in the first third long stream. We also didn't promote it whatsoever. Um, we just kind of, I just kind of did it, and had Mike and Colin and Nathan show up. Um, so definitely looking forward to doing some more of those. I think late November we'll have some potentially, and then definitely some in December because there's some good Monday Night Football in December. Um,
Yeah.
so we'll see what happens there. But I do think the live streaming will be a fun part. We've got the live stream coming up in a couple of weeks. Me, you, and Colin are going to live stream the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. Instead of
Gonna be a lot of
doing,
fun.
yeah, instead of doing the college football show and a Friday episode because of Thanksgiving on Thursday, and I'm leaving town Friday morning. We're gonna do a live stream Wednesday night, kind of go through all the stuff that we would on the podcast and on the college football show, and just all of us hang out here. Probably gonna bring the couch in for us to chill. Nathan will be here, so that'll be a fun time as well. So got a lot of fun stuff down the pipeline, but like I said earlier, I think this is I think we're heading in the right direction. It's taking some time. Look, I haven't really talked about this all that much. I'm about to graduate college in 6 weeks. I've got a lot going on, so it's really hard to like fully commit here, but it makes it really
Yeah.
easy when I'm having a great time doing the stuff I'm doing and spending the time with the people involved. So,
Yeah, for sure.
it's been a blast this year. And here's to, the next few years, forever, the future, whatever it
Damn,
is.
we should have prepared like a shot or something.
Ah,
I didn't even think about that.
it's all good, man. We could do it on Saturday over FaceTime. All right,
Yeah.
let's get into Nathan's actual questions. Outside of the second short base ones, where will Juan Soto be next season? Hard hitter,
A,
hard hitter. He didn't
a
even
New
let
York Yankee.
he didn't let the wound heal.
I can't believe that turnaround, man. We were on such good vibes
Yeah.
until now.
Yeah. Brutal.
A Yankee. I'm confident about it.
All right. God, I don't know. Shit. I want him to go back to the Yankees. I kind of do. I will be honest. He's got to go somewhere that's going to pay the shit out of him. That's the thing. The Yankees certainly fit the bill. I don't want him back in the NL East, so I'm not even going to put that out there. Yeah, sure. He's going to stay on the Yankees.
Dude, if he goes to the other New York team.
Oh, God, dude. No, please no.
No.
Okay, here's another one. I'm going to make you do a non-Juan Soto pick here. What offseason move do you want your MLB team to make?
Ooh. Wow. I don't even know who's like going to be a free agent. Like I can't even.
This is a conversation for
That's,
another day, the free agency conversation. But
yeah.
um, let's see if we've got like a list.
That's not at all what I needed. Huh.
You got Scherzer, Verlander, Cole could opt out, Juan Soto, Blake Snow, Cody Bellinger, Paul Goldschmidt, Teoscar Hernandez, Robbie Ray, Pete Alonso, Alex Bregman, Rizzo, Ozuna as a club option. I would assume we'll keep him. Kenley Jansen will be on the market. Max Fried, Corbin Burns, both on the market. That's huge.
Wow.
Max Fried will not be a Brave. I'll just go and put that out there. I'd like him to.
You don't think so?
Yeah, he's not gonna. He's not coming back.
Hmm.
Um,
Um,
I want Corbin Burns. I'll say that.
the Braves,
Yeah, love to have him.
give me. Oh man. You know, if we can re-sign Jazz Chisholm
Hmm.
as well, I'm actually going to say Pete Alonso. I think
Whoa.
would be one of the better
Yeah.
fits. I don't like Anthony Rizzo,
Yeah. No, that's fair.
but
He's well past his
then
prime.
again, I don't know if what the Yankees need is another star player. I think we just need to get those guys that are going to show up outside of like your top, 4 or 5 hitters.
I
I
can
think
agree
that's
with
what the
that
Yankees lack.
for sure.
Yeah.
I like that.
I don't even think we need another star pitcher either.
Okay. Okay. This
Yeah.
next question is interesting. Who will finish the season better, Nick Chubb or Christian McCaffrey? Nick Chubb is already
Um,
back. Christian McCaffrey, we're still waiting on.
yeah.
I I don't know. Because the thing is that the Browns have not had somebody fill in and look good.
No,
The 49ers can take their time with McCaffrey. I know they're not winning a lot of
that's
games,
a
but
good
they can
point.
take their time with McCaffrey. There's other weapons around that team to help out. Nick Chubb is already back. He hasn't looked great, and I don't know if he will, especially if they continue to attack in the passing game with Jameis Winston.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I'm gonna take Chubb because Chubb didn't go to Germany to get his Achilles replaced,
That's fair.
fused back together.
That's fair. He probably could have
So,
used
I
it.
mean, Chubb's been through a lot too,
Yeah.
but yeah, he probably Chubb could have been on the flight with him, and we don't even know.
Yeah. I
But I'm gonna say Chubb.
I think I'm going to go with CMC. I know it'll be a lot smaller sample size, so by the numbers, it might not look right. But I think CMC will end up finishing out the season better just because there's the assets on that team to alleviate some stress when he does come back.
That's fair.
All right. Final question. Would you rather live in a small house on a lot of land or a big house in the city? Easiest fucking question I could ever answer.
Big house in the city.
No.
Hell yeah! I'm
No.
taking a penthouse over a lot of land. Yeah,
No.
yeah,
No. Nah.
right.
You're wrong, dude. You're just simply wrong.
I'm not wrong, but I have a fascination with cities. I love big
Small
cities,
house
dude.
on a lot of. I think it's because you grew up far enough away from Atlanta.
That could be it.
I think that's what it is. Because look, I'm like a good 45 minutes to Atlanta. It could stay that way for all I care. It could be longer. I don't care. I
Yeah, but
don't.
see, I also
I've never wanted to live in the city. If I'm more than happy to work in the city, but I don't want to live in the city. It's just not my
dude,
idea of fun. It's not where
I
in
would love it.
my personally, my biggest thing is that I don't want to raise my kids in the city.
That would,
That's
yeah,
that's where
that,
my angle is coming from. Is like this is like
yeah.
my future. I'm thinking I'd much rather have a small house with my kids, bunch of land for them and myself, and just chill out in the middle of nowhere.
Nah, yeah, I get that. Definitely for raising a kids, I'd want to be
Yeah.
on a little get some land. But I think for like being young and like starting a career, it'd be fun to be in the city.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd need a big place at all if I lived in the city.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
I okay, obviously, ideally for me, big place in the middle of nowhere would be nice.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
for the sake of this question, definitely small house on a lot of land.
mm,
I want to
yeah,
have room, you know? That's always been
yeah. Room to
my
roam.
dream has always been big ass land that just
Yeah.
do whatever you want with. But I respect your answer because I do understand why, like, especially for both of us, early 20s, having a place in the city would be awesome. It's just
Yeah,
I'm not doing that shit right now. Anyways.
yeah,
So it
exactly.
doesn't pique my
Yeah.
interest quite as much. Um, all right. That's questions time. That was
Oh,
yeah.
cool. All right.
Yeah. Not a lot of questions.
Nice.
That's why I kind of added in our own questions to string it out a little bit. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I thanks everybody for 2 years, 2 wonderful years of Second and Short. Here's to
2 years.
everybody that will see us in the future. Maybe you're somebody from 2 years from now that's going back and listening to the 2 year anniversary episode.
Oh,
That
wow.
would be cool.
That's weird.
Yeah,
You
maybe
just
that's
made
what.
me feel so strange.
Yeah, yeah, maybe it is
I did not like
2026
that.
as you're listening to this right now.
Wow. Who won the World Cup? Try to tell
Yeah,
us.
please communicate with us now.
Yeah.
But thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. Of course, thank you for liking and subscribing here on YouTube. That's what you need to be doing if you
Yeah.
haven't. Um, I gotta get those subscriptions up, guys. I know that people are watching the video, but you're not subscribing, so you gotta subscribe here on YouTube. Turn on the
Mm,
post notifications so you know whenever a video goes up. Like the college football show that went up. It's only on YouTube. Keep that in mind. It's only on YouTube. Goes up on Thursdays at 3 p.m. Went up yesterday. Better have watched it. Um, of course, Mondays, Fridays, we've got the podcast here on YouTube, anywhere you get your podcasts. Obviously, you found it somehow. And of course, on the podcast platforms, rate 5 stars, give us a follow there. Um, don't know yet. Me and Luke haven't sorted out yet. Might be seeing a video on Wednesday next week, so you might need to have your post notifications on YouTube. Just saying. But you could also follow us on
mhm.
Instagram to stay up to date with everything we've got going on as well. And of course,
Yep.
join the Second and Short subreddit, r/2nd A&D short, and you could have extended this episode about 5 minutes with a question. So feel free
Yeah.
to hop in the Reddit and ask some questions for the pod. But Luke, anything you'd like to say before we get out of here and get ready to celebrate 2 years of Second and Short?
The Yankees will be back.
Okay, that is that's the
That's all I
sentiment.
got.
All right, well, I want to thank everybody. A special thank you to everybody for sticking around for us for so long, and I will catch you guys on Monday. Luke will catch you guys next Friday. I'll see you guys again on Thursday for the college football show. Keep, ugh, already stumbled over my words. I've been here too long. I'll see you guys later. Peace.
Peace.